Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Jeff is out today, which means we've got Stick up at the desk. Woohoo! Happy Friday, everyone. All right, we had two uneventful games last night. The Red Wings falling to the Washington Capitals 2-0. But we do have to give credit where credit's due. Caps goalie Zach Fucale became the first Capitals goaltender in franchise history to have a shutout in his first ever NHL game. So congrats to him, but it did result in a Red Wings L, which we do not like. And then, of course, we had Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins beating the Ravens 22-10. So, you guys, let's start with the Red Wings. Your thoughts on last night's game against the Capitals?
They're kids. I mean, this is what you get from a young team. They're going to have nights where they put 5-6 goals in, and then there's going to be nights where they get a ton of shots on target, but they can't finish. These are kids. So I really don't have a problem with it. I still think they're exciting to watch. They scored no goals last night, and I enjoyed watching the game. I enjoyed it more than the Monday Night Football game. I mean, and the Monday Night Football game, let's be honest, that was a disaster in terms of, general viewership, but also for me. Because I'm the idiot that started Mike Gesicki, who got 8 targets and finished with 0 catches, 0 points. But regardless, back to the Wings. I mean, look, Sider looks legit. I think that's a kid that's probably going to be a top 5 defender in the league in the next 18 to 24 months. He's big, he's strong, he's not scared of anybody, skates really well. That's a really good trend for this whole team. They skate well. So, Stig, I mean, last night, they can lose all they want. I'm enjoying watching them. I see where they're going.
They can lose all they want as long as they give me that Oilers win earlier in the week. Like that's what they need. As long as we're showing that we're doing well and beating good teams when we're playing them, they're obviously going to lay a few eggs because, like you said, they're youth, and that's what you get with youth. You get inconsistency. You get people that will play out of their mind one game, and then for 4 games they just disappear. But as D-Mac says, as he sits in that chair, you got to follow the Yzer plan, and we talked about it on Big D Energy earlier in the week. Out of all the 4 major sports here in Detroit right now, the Red Wings are probably the most exciting and on their way team. They're probably like half a step further than everybody.
I think more. I think they're
the
clear.
Tigers. I'd throw the Tigers.
Tigers
how they finished
are there.
last season.
I think the Pistons and the Lions are a few steps back.
I think it goes Lions, Pistons, Tigers, Red Wings.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And I think the Tigers, if they make the move this offseason that everyone expects, the elephant in the room, Carlos Correa, or any other big money signing, whether it's Cody Bellinger, whoever it is, then I think you can put the Tigers like really, really close to the Wings. But yeah, Wings are ahead of everybody. I can't believe it. Like, when was the last time they won a series? 2013?
Yeah, I think so.
2013.
According
the last
to that
time,
graphic, ESPN dropped on our heads
yeah,
the other
that was
night.
that was a punch in the gut.
Yes,
but it just shows you. So Ken Holland's the GM at the time, 2013. You win your last playoff series. You make the playoffs the next 2 years, and then it's 6-7 years no playoffs. And it's 6-7 years of, well, where are we going with this? And then it's Yzerman comes in, and you know he's good at drafting. You've seen him take a Kucherov-esque player in the second round. You've seen him nail his first-round picks. He shows up to Detroit. Sider, Raymond. I mean, the kids that are in the system already, they're all producing. So it's good times ahead. I mean, we always call this the city hockey town. There's nothing better when the Wings are good. Obviously there will be a day, hopefully, that the Lions are actually good, and we'll finally get to figure out what that looks like. But the Wings, Hockey Town, it's must watch, especially when you have skaters and players like this.
Yeah, I mean, they play the game so fast right now, and that's what I love about these kids is, I love Olympic hockey. Like, Olympic hockey I like kind of better than NHL hockey just because it's so wide open and teams get to...
Speaking of the Olympics,
what's going on, Fish?
It starts again in February.
The Olympics
2022 Beijing.
Nice.
Winter Olympics? Or
Winter Olympics, yes, sir.
Yeah, because they got backed up. We had the Summer Olympics that were supposed to happen in 2020. They happened this year, so Olympics are coming fast and furious.
USA is still scheduled to compete. There was drama with the U.S. wanting to pull out because of China and all the stuff happening in China and with China and us in China, so they're still scheduled to compete.
We should worry about our own problems. How about we start there?
But either way, I like Olympic hockey. I like how wide open it is, and I feel like that's kind of how the Red Wings are playing right now. They got the youth, they got some speed, and they're playing some wide open hockey, which makes it fun to watch. If anything, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I'm good. Look, if you told me the Lions were going to lose 15 games in this season, but you told me offensively you saw something, defensively the players were improving week to week, and you saw this like progression throughout the whole season, that's fine.
Right.
Like, I think fans are more understanding than maybe we give them credit for. They're willing to ride with you through the tough times as long as you kind of show that, hey, like, we're heading in this direction. We have these pieces. They need veteran leadership. They need coaching. They need time. And in due time, we'll be a playoff team. I think fans are not as maybe...
I need to know there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like, honestly, that's all I need to know out of these teams. And that's what we saw with the Pistons last year. You know, you saw them improve, even though the team was not good. You know, like, they got the #1 pick because of their record. But you saw them trending up. And you saw that with the Lions, kind of the first 3 games of the season. They were trending okay. And then ever since then, it's just been... similar to what we're experiencing with the Red Wings last night. Just who the hell are we going to get on this game? But overall, the Red Wings, I'm happy with them. And last night's game, kind of a dud. I mean, when you let up 2 goals in 10 seconds in the first period, the other team just sits on it. And that's what they did. And that's the one thing I don't love about hockey, because like a team gets up and then they just play D. They play D, and we don't have the type of players to break that when the only team is when their only focus is defense. We don't have a guy that can break that at this point.
Yeah, skating into the zone last night was very difficult for the Red Wings.
Do a sit back for the entire game.
Yeah, it was very difficult. But let's move on to Monday Night Football. MVP frontrunner, or excuse me, Thursday Night Football. I don't even know what day it is today. Excuse me, guys.
It's Friday.
Thank you,
Everyone's
Fish.
favorite day other than Adam's.
Thursday Night Football last night. It was a dud of a game. Really not that great to watch unless you're a Miami Dolphins fan. But
I thought it was a great game to watch.
It was sluggish. I mean, it was pretty bad. It was ugly football.
Miami's defense was playing out of their mind, and I loved watching how many. You know, they were sending 8, they were sending 6, they were blitzing here, they were blitzing there. Like Brian Flores has brought out.
They had everybody at the line of scrimmage, and they weren't always blitzing.
Right.
But that's what threw off Lamar Jackson last night. But that's where I was going to get to. This guy was an MVP frontrunner, 6-2 with the team decimated by injuries heading into the game, and on a short week. I mean, you can't have weeks like this if you want to win an MVP. Well, your thoughts on Lamar Jackson? How much does it hurt his MVP the stock? I think it hurts him big time.
Yeah, a game like that definitely hurts your MVP status for sure, especially against the Dolphins. Like, if this happened against the Bucks or against a team with a better defense and a team we expected it out of, it's like, okay, you know, he went up against a good defense. They'll get him next week. But this is what happens with Lamar Jackson in this offense, and I know he's improved passing the ball and he's gotten better, but they showed this, 2-3 years ago in the playoffs. When you put 8 in the box against this guy and you blitz him all the time and get him going and moving out of the pocket, he's not super effective. He's effective, but he's not super effective. And it's crazy because yesterday we were talking about his entire career. He's thrown like 59 red zone touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns in the red zone, and 0 interceptions. Last night, what happens?
Yep.
Interception.
Commentators curse.
Yeah, we cursed him here right at Woodward Sports. So
Unreal.
sorry, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I'm not sorry. I'm glad he had a bad game. I went up against him in fantasy. That was the only compensation I had last night for Mike Gesicki taking a total dud.
Yeah, sorry about that advice.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. I'll get over it. Regardless, Miami now, look, they're 3-7. It's a lost season. They're not winning 7 straight. They're not going to finish 10-7. This is a team that won 10 games last year. They got to figure out the quarterback situation. Yeah. They've got pieces, man. Jalen Waddle's nice. I like Waddle. I'm not saying he's a superstar wide receiver, but for sure he can be a guy that's going to get you over 1,100 yards a year. So you have something there. The run game, the O-line, it's not amazing, but it's okay. It's average. You can build on it. The defense is legit. You just need the quarterback. And is Tua the quarterback? Is it Brissett? I mean, we did this last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're going to start Tua, and in the fourth quarter, we're going to bring on Ryan. I don't get what they're doing. I know Tua had an injury going into last night, but how is he playing in the second half if he was injured? And it doesn't. I don't know what Miami's doing.
And that's what Greg Olsen was saying at halftime. If you were watching the game, he's like, listen, I don't understand this either. If the guy can play, he should be your starter. It's that simple, and that's the NFL. If you can play, if you can be on the field, you must be on the field. You can't be like, yeah, I'm good to go, but let me play backup for this game. It doesn't work.
One thing you can't say about a lot of quarterbacks in the league, and I'll use Stafford as an example, even when hurt, even if it was a bothered finger, the dude would show up and play. That's what you want from your franchise quarterback. With Tua, I'm looking at him like, man, like this is a really important game for us. Like, I know we're 2-7, but we need you.
Right.
Like we need you to go out and show that you can lead this team. And the fact that Brissett had a pedestrian first half, they were up 6-3 at halftime.
Yeah, beautiful.
The
score.
defense was the only reason they were in that game.
Right.
And Tua comes out in the second half, and obviously the defense does what it does. But I don't like that. I don't like it. If I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, where am I going with Tua? Is he our future? I don't know. We were trying to get Deshaun Watson. So are we going to give up defensive assets and Tua and draft picks for an actual quarterback, but then we become weaker as a team? I don't know where Miami's going. I don't know at all, but
Brian Flores sure as hell looked a lot better last year than he does this year. That's for sure. I mean, his defense is always going to be there because that's the kind of coach that he is. But if he can't figure out how to put a quarterback in a game, because the old saying, when you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback, and that's what's going on.
So, for example, a guy like a Brian Flores, you look at Robert Saleh, and these guys are on the league with, even Matt Patricia when he was here, the defensive-minded coaches, right? Well, not many of them, I should say, have had any success of actually turning around a defense. I think really in recent years, the only two I can think of that made like an immediate impact were Joe Judge on the Giants and Brian Flores. And I know those are two awful teams, but like you can see the improvement on defense at least. But Jesus Christ, you can't get the quarterback right, you're not going to win anything significant.
No, this is a
so
quarterback
that's the story
league.
In the NFL.
Yeah, quarterback league. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything.
Fair enough.
Stick, I like what you said. If you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback. Because I feel that kind of as a Notre Dame fan right now.
No,
with the two quarterback system is just not my favorite thing in the world, let me tell you.
If you can't decide, that means there isn't one guy that's head and tails above, so that means you really don't have your true starter.
Yep. I feel that. All right, you guys, speaking of college football, up next we're talking some Michigan football taking on Penn State this weekend. We will get into that when we come back. But first, our friends over at Northwestern Tech.
Ooh, Northwestern Tech, the heating and cooling industry. This is what you need to get into. I mean, it's Michigan, so we got both ends of the spectrum. We got the hot, we got the cold, and right now we're right in between. It starts out 50 degrees, 30 degrees in the morning, 60 degrees by afternoon, so make sure your HVAC system is working and make sure that you can work on it and go get a job with northwesterntech.edu. It's a job that is, we saw it through the pandemic. It's pandemic proof. You're always going to get that money because people always need heat and cooling. So go to Northwestern Tech. Visit northwesterntech.edu today.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy Friday to join us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, number 6, Michigan, taking on Penn State on the road tomorrow at noon. Penn State is currently 6-3, 3-3 in the Big Ten, but I don't think U of M should be sleeping on this team at all. They've played ranked teams like Ohio State, Auburn, Wisconsin, Iowa, and played them all to 9 points or fewer. So not an easy matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but Stick, what are your thoughts going into this game?
First thought is, anytime you go to Penn State and play a home game, it's scary.
Yep.
They that stadium, those fans, and when you get there, it's just an insane vibe. And if they do that whiteout, it's always just so crazy there. Michigan, the fact that there's only a half a point spread in this game shows to me that Michigan is actually the favorite going in, because usually when you put a team on the road, they already start out, -3. But Michigan's only minus half a point here, so I'm assuming that everybody thinks Michigan will win the game. Oh, we got them at plus 1.5. I'm looking at a different sporting book right now. But either way, it's going to be a close game. But Michigan definitely needs to pull this game out. I mean, they're in control of their own destiny. That's all you can ask for at this point in the season. That loss to Michigan State sucks because it's a rivalry loss, and anytime you do that, you give your quote-unquote little brother some smack talk that he's able to do to you. But the fact that they lost that game so early in the season the way the college football playoffs work, that's almost a good thing because now they have time to build their way back up and get into that top 4 if they win out. And that's all you can ask for if you're Michigan. You take that 1 L, and you've already jumped Michigan State in the rankings because they took that L to Purdue. So if I'm Michigan, I'm feeling good about myself going in this game, but I know I need to take care of business this weekend. Otherwise, my hopes of the season pretty much done.
Yeah, look, you have to win this game. If you're Michigan, control what you can control. You can't control what happens with Ohio State against Purdue. You can't control what happens between Michigan State and Maryland. Go on the road, and it's a noon game, so you don't have to worry about the whole whiteout scene at night and an overwhelming atmosphere. It's still an away game, but not as intimidating as it is at 7 o'clock playing in Penn State. That's totally different, but Michigan, you got to win this game. Jim Harbaugh, you got to win this game, man. We can't have the same conversation every year, 8, 9, 10 wins, but you lose to your rivals. You can't be a combined, 4 and 21 or 4 and 20, whatever the record is against Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan State combined. You can't do that. Go on the road. They're unranked in the college football playoff rankings, which makes no sense because they're 23rd or 22nd in the AP poll. But regardless, whatever the case is, you got to win this game, Jim. You got to win this game, and you got to win on the road against Maryland. You do that, and you walk into Ann Arbor on November 27th, 10-1. It's going to be hard for anybody to say this guy needs to go unless they lose by 40 against Ohio State.
Right.
So that's it. Control what you can control. Walk into Ann Arbor on the 27th with a chance to win the Big Ten. That's all you can do. And if you're Michigan State, it's actually a bad thing if Michigan State theoretically wins out. Well, actually, vice versa. It's a bad thing if Ohio State beats Michigan State, right? Because then Ohio State goes into the last game and let's say Michigan wins. Well, then you have 2 2-loss teams and 1 1-loss team, so they probably get in. But there's no guarantee Michigan beats Wisconsin or Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. But if Michigan State wins out, but Michigan runs the table on their side, then I can make the argument maybe 2 Big Ten teams get into the college football playoff. That's very unlikely, by the way.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
Alabama might lose 2 games, and I think a 2-loss Alabama with losses to A&M and Georgia, I think they're out. And a close game to LSU, I don't see how you justify putting them. Now, if they beat Georgia, it's off the table. The SEC is getting 2 teams in there, Georgia and Bama. But regarding Michigan, look, man, I don't know what to do anymore about the quarterback situation. I pounded you saw what I did earlier in the year about Penny Swope, right tackle. And I'm at the point now where that's it. I want to watch the team. I don't care anymore. I'm not going to sit up here and make a scene out of anything that I know they won't change and they're not going to understand. So I'm just going to move on from it. But Cade McNamara, just take 8 games. I have a 9-game sample size, 8 of which he's played pedestrian to average. And 1 game against Michigan State, which he looked really damn good. But he failed to deliver, of course, in the most important time, which was the 4th quarter. Funny how that works out.
Yeah.
I don't want to make the case for JJ again. I don't want to repeat all this again.
I was going to say, that's a tough road to go down after what happened during the Michigan State game.
I mean, look, I really am on the side of if I started that freshman from day one and I lost, I'm accepting of it.
Right.
Because, if you really believe he's that guy to win you a natty, you got to play him.
Right.
But only Jim Harbaugh will know maybe if this kid's
But once again,
ceiling.
if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. Pick a guy. Let him be your leader. Let him take you to where you need to be. This flip-flop stuff, I've never seen it work. Give me 1 example where it's oh, man, they're bringing in 3 quarterbacks this game. They have a great team. It's never worked.
If I just tell you, hey, we have a guy that can sit in the pocket, make all the reads, and make 5 to 6 yard throws consistently, and he can hand off the ball without any issue. Or I give you the guy that can run RPO. You have to be accountable for him as an edge rusher. You can't just break in and try to go for the running back, because if you do, he's pulling it out and going.
Right.
He can make throws down the field, something Cade can't do. I feel like it's just it's an age thing. It's an experience thing, and that's fine, and I understand that. But Michigan, when are you going to win a Big Ten? Are you just going to try to I hope Ohio State loses here and I hope Michigan State loses here? You got to go out and win things.
But that's where they're at right now. They're in control of their destiny. So they're in that lane where they can go and win and go get the Big Ten. They can do it if they win out. But to your point, they got to make the quarterback decision. Last year, McNamara got injured against Penn State. He hurt his shoulder, but he still They still lost the game.
It's
So
easy.
he needs to get that revenge game or use that as motivation, or they just need some more fire to go into this game to put them over the top. And if they win this in convincing fashion, they're serious contenders. Serious contenders.
They need to prove that they can win the big game. Michigan has not won a big game this year. They had their one chance. They blew a 30-14 lead. I'll give them credit. Nebraska on the road, Wisconsin on the road. Those are good wins.
Right.
That's a quality win. But I'm talking when it matters, when there's pressure. There's pressure tomorrow. There's a lot of pressure. You got to beat Penn State. It's not, if we play them close or if we... No, you got to beat them.
Yeah.
You're trying to get into the college football playoff. Forget that. You're trying to win a Big Ten. How about do that first?
And Penn State's not an easy game. I mean, if you look at their red zone defense, they got 62% scoring percentage against them, which
what team struggles in the red zone to score touchdowns?
Exactly.
Michigan.
Opponents have reached the red zone 35 times and have scored just 10 touchdowns. So it's going to be tough sledding, and Michigan needs those big plays. So they need McNamara to air it out. They almost need the game plan that they had against Michigan State. They got to throw this ball.
But how much of that was just Michigan State has a poor secondary and it got exposed the week after as well against Purdue, and it'll likely get exposed against Ohio State?
I mean, we're seeing the bend that don't break defense has broken several times. So, yeah, Michigan State secondary is not the greatest. But at the same time, Michigan played out of their minds that game throwing the ball. That was the best that I've seen them in many, at least 2 years.
My favorite stat from that game, and again, I'm not trying to dog on Cade right now, but this is the truth, though. His average yard per attempt throw downfield was like 5.4, if I recall correctly, or 5.3. The freshman took that, I think, to the house in 96 yards. He covered 90 of those yards. Well, granted, it was a great throw by Cade. You had to hit him in stride for him to even have a chance to do it.
Right.
But this kid isn't driving the ball down the field on comeback routes, dig routes. He's not getting you into 2nd and 12 situations where you need to get a first down. You need to try, or even 3rd and long.
Right.
He can't help you overcome that. It's the little dump off to the tight end, the little screen plays. Something can we get 7-8 yards out of? I mean, that works against bad teams. It's not going to work against Penn State, Michigan State, and Ohio State. And that's my concern for this team, really. But regardless, must-win game for Michigan this weekend. We actually have Anthony Broome joining us around 8:26, 8:27 today in the show. So I'm excited to talk to him about all of this. But Stick, final direction going into Saturday. 1, prediction, but 2, how much of J.J. McCarthy do you want to see, or do you just want them to ride Cade out completely for the game, no flip-flop?
Yeah, pick a lane. That's what I want to see. And, I mean, obviously, if he's throwing 4 interceptions in the first half, you make the change. So I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, you start him, he has to play the entire game.
Game plan-wise.
But, yeah, game plan-wise, commit to one guy. Let the offense grow around him and let them gain that rhythm. And that, to me, that's the only way. Like, at the Michigan State game, that's why I believe those fumbles happened, is just it broke the rhythm. It's not something that they were used to. And you just, anytime you're throwing somebody new in there, it's a new cadence. It's a new snap count. It's everything's different when you change out your quarterback. It's not like switching out your right tackle. You can do that all game long. You can switch out your defensive tackles all day long, but you do this with your quarterback, and it messes with the entire team. So I think Michigan's going to win. I think they got a good chance of beating Penn State, but they got to play the right way, and Harbaugh's got to make a decision at quarterback.
Fair enough. I mean, Michigan are 1.5-point favorites. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to take Michigan to assert themselves this game. I'm going to go final score 31-23. They'll win by more than a touchdown. It's going to look scary at times. I think it's going to be closer than even the 1.5-point throughout the entire game, but I think Michigan pull away late. Their run game, if Blake Corum is available, even if he isn't, Hassan Haskins is going to be able to carry the ball 25, 30 times if you ask him to. My concern, if Blake Corum isn't 100%, you really lose a lot of explosiveness on offense, especially pass catching out of the backfield. I know he struggled the last few weeks, but this offense needs their backs at 100%. That's the way they operate. They don't have big hit wide receivers. Ronnie Bell got hurt way early on. I think it was week 1, actually, against Western Michigan. So he hasn't been in since. That's really taken a lot of explosiveness out of this offense. But if they can get the run game going, if Cade can just make the simple throws that he's asked to do, Michigan will be fine. If Michigan go down early and Cade needs to sling the ball, Michigan likely lose bad. That's my call.
All right, you guys. Well, like we said, coming up next, we've got Anthony Broome, the Michigan Wolverines insider, joining us next. But Adam's giving you his score prediction. So if you want to put some money on it, he knows a place where you can go do that.
Absolutely, guys. My bookie is where it's at. I say this every single day. They have one of, if not the most friendly referral programs going on right now. A 250% bonus when you refer a friend to sign up for my bookie using code Woodward. My goodness. So what happens? Adam, please explain. Well, if you put in $10, you'll get an additional 250% on that, which means you'll get $25 for your friend's $10 deposit. If your friend deposits $50, you'll get $250. My goodness, I am in love with this referral program. But guys, the benefits of MyBookie, the odds, the lines, the prop bets. Some of the prop bets they have are absolutely hilarious. How many times a player will drop a pass? I mean, it's so funny. And they have really good future bets, I do have to say. But regardless, bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. Don't forget to sign up using code Woodward. They'll match you dollar for dollar on your first deposit. You put in 50, they'll give you 50. You put in 100, they'll give you $100. And guys, please, if you have a gambling problem, please call the Michigan Gambling Problem Hotline at 1-800-270-7117.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. All right, like we said, Anthony Broome, Michigan Wolverines insider for the Wolverine.com. Thanks so much for joining us. We're so excited to talk some Michigan football with you today, so I don't want to wait. Welcome, Anthony. I know these guys have a lot of questions for you.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing today, bud?
What's up, guys? Happy to be back.
Anthony, big game today, tomorrow against Penn State on the road. Kind of give me, first of your expectations going into the game and kind of recap the season. I know the Michigan State game was a big letdown, a 30-14 lead. They blew it. But what's the mindset of the team going into Saturday? They obviously have to take care of business. But where does this leave Jim Harbaugh? This is a must-win game. I don't see how he shows up next year, even if he beats Ohio State. But with losses to Michigan State and Penn State, again, I think he needs to walk in on November 27th, 10-1, or he's going to be out of a job.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be out of a job, but it's certainly we'll kind of be spinning our wheels here, right? It'll be year 7. It's another 9-3, 10-2 type thing. Saturday is the latest, quote unquote, biggest game of the Jim Harbaugh era until they win and the goalpost move, because that's usually how it goes. But yeah, they got to get this one on Saturday. By dropping, regardless of, I'm not going to do the officiating thing. By dropping the game that they did at Michigan State, you had a 16-point lead. Your margin of error the rest of the season is all but gone. I don't personally expect them to beat Ohio State, but you have to go in that game 10-1. You have to. The expectation, the baseline expectation at the University of Michigan should be that last Saturday in November, you're playing for a Big Ten East championship. And, the line that they'll keep pointing to, the sign they'll keep pointing to is, goals are still ahead of us despite the loss to Michigan State. And that's true, but they don't completely control their own destiny. So the only thing that you can do is win and then see what else happens there. Still a lot to sort out on the field. Michigan State and Ohio State still have to play. Michigan State plays the same 3 teams to end the year that Michigan does. So we'll see what happens. We saw what the playoff committee thought of it. Objectively speaking, kind of hilarious, just given you guys know you're in the debate game. It's perfect for these types of formats. But it's a big game for them. Penn State is, they're a 3-loss team, but you kind of put an asterisk next to that because Sean Clifford wasn't healthy for a couple of those games. You lose a tough one at Iowa. They lost in 9 overtimes, quote unquote, to Illinois. So, but this is a very talented team. NFL guys all over their defense. Jahan Dotson, Parker Washington, 2 really good wide receivers. Michigan rightfully reset itself last week. They had a players-only meeting after the Michigan State game to go, hey, listen, we cannot fold like we have in recent seasons after, losing a tough game like that. So I do feel like they're refocused. I feel like matchup-wise, which I'm sure we can kind of get into here, I feel like they match up pretty well in this game at Penn State. And probably the biggest thing for them is they don't have to go there and play at night. They're playing a noon kickoff at Penn State, which they haven't done since 2015, which was the last time they won at Penn State. So I think if you're a Michigan fan or someone that's looking to make a pick in this game, I lean Michigan in this matchup, but it will be it's gonna be a tough, hard-fought game like most of them are.
So you mentioned while you were talking about the goalpost moving for Harbaugh, and that's one thing that, I'm not a Michigan fan. I'm not a Michigan State fan. I went to University of Detroit. We don't even have a football team. So I have nothing in this game. But to me, it just seems that Harbaugh is judged so unfairly sometimes. I mean, the guy's got one loss on the season on the road to, at that time, a top 10 ranked team, top 5 ranked team. And people are calling for this man's job, and I get it. We can look at the years past, but I want to focus on what's in front of me, and I want to focus on the team that he's playing with right now. They have one loss and control their destiny where they could compete for a national championship. On what planet is that not acceptable?
At the University of Michigan, with Michigan fans. No,
who do they think they are?
Well, they're delusional. That's the problem with Michigan
well,
fans.
It's one of those things where I think a lot of the discourse and a lot of the debates on what this team is or what they might, because a lot of it's predictive, right? Like, no, people don't expect them to beat Ohio State. So what it will be is year 7 where you haven't beaten, you didn't beat either of your rivals. Yeah, you won 10 games, but in a lot of people's minds, you will have won 10 games without, accomplishing the rivalry win. You're not Indianapolis playing for a Big Ten championship. So it's like, it rings empty for a lot of people. So, I get it. I understand it. Like I said, I personally don't expect them to beat Ohio State. But it's just one of those things where it's seven years now, to their credit. Michigan, they said, hey, Jim Harbaugh, if you want to come back, you got to come back at $4 million. And you want to make the rest of that money you were making before, go win these games. Go to Indy. Beat Ohio State. Do those types of things. So, I can't say that that's added. Everyone's on notice there. But again, you go through another season where you don't get either of those things done. I understand why that would ring hollow to a lot of people. Michigan with, it's less about, everyone has an Ohio State problem, right? To me, you're the University of Michigan. Why do you have a Michigan State problem? Why do you have a Penn State problem? Why do you have a Wisconsin problem? The numbers at this point, when you're almost 7 years into this thing, when you are Jim Harbaugh and you have a record of, I believe it's 20-21 against teams over 500, that's not in a vacuum. That's over 7 years of playing football games. So I totally get it. It always comes with the heeding the warning that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Like, look at Nebraska after Bo Pelini. Look at USC, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Florida State. There's a lot of these other quote-unquote blue blood programs that aren't where they're quote-unquote supposed to be, that as a Michigan fan, you feel pretty good about where the state of your program is compared to that. But it's still, like I said, it's not enough. At some point, you would think, given 7 years of football, you would even just luck into one of these big wins at one point, and it hasn't happened. And normally, it's because, I think what bothers Michigan fans the most about Harbaugh under any of the coaching staffs he's had is that they don't put games away. You go back a couple weeks ago, I went back and charted a lot of these. Like 2015 Michigan State, a couple of those Ohio State games, Iowa 2016, Michigan State a couple weeks ago. Like, what you see them do at the end of the games, it's like punt, turnover on downs, interception, 30 yards of total offense. Like, those are the types of things late in games that I think drive Michigan fans crazy. And in the here and now in college football, where you just have to keep scoring. They don't do that enough. They're a little conservative with leads, and that's, again, I think if you're If you're skeptical that a Jim Harbaugh team can do something in a big situation, you have plenty of data in your favor that suggests that you're in the right there.
Anthony, I could make the argument that this offseason when they restructured his deal and he brought on, 10, 15 assistants really under, I want to say, the age of 45, that the program looks like it's in a better place. It really reminds me of his first 2-3 years where you're like, oh my goodness, they're going to do it. Granted, the failure to beat the rivals, failure to win the big games. But I'm looking at Jim Harbaugh overall. He wasn't brought here to do what essentially most Michigan coaches have done throughout the program's history, which is, yeah, we win 9-10 games, maybe beat Ohio State, maybe beat Michigan State. Like, this program was never a national powerhouse, and I think that's what frustrates me the most is the expectation is we need to be a national powerhouse. The problem is you never were one, and I think Harbaugh has done what every Michigan coach has done. The problem is he wasn't brought here to do that. He was brought here to beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State, beat Penn State, beat Iowa, and go to a Big Ten championship multiple times. Get to a college football playoffs every other year, every 3 years even. It doesn't need to be every year, but Jesus Christ, we're in year 7. I really think he needs to put on the pressure and say, hey, we are not losing another game. We're going to Indy. We're capturing a Big Ten title, and I got to get that momentum because you're not going to be able to out-recruit all these SEC teams. You're not going to be able to out-recruit Ohio State unless you go and deliver results. Am I missing something, Anthony?
No, you're not. I think something that could potentially open a door for Michigan on the recruiting trail is, the name, image, and likeness stuff. I've talked about this a few times. I think on a couple other shows on here, it's Michigan's got that place will recruit itself. They can just roll me out there as head coach, and we'll bring in a top 10, top 15 recruiting class. Which I'm not asking for that job. I don't want the stress that comes along with it. But with between the brand and the Ross Business School, like they could kind of make name, image, and likeness. They could be a leader in that, and they've moved pretty slow there too, which is not all that surprising. In terms of doing things that get with the times. But yeah, at some point you just got to find out a way. And the thing I'll say about Harbaugh is that, again, I'll go back to, he hasn't done those things that he was brought there to do, and they cut his pay 50%. So they're getting, I guess, good returns on a reduced salary right now, but it's still not, like I said, it's always about, to me, like, what is there? Who can you safely go out there and get that's going to elevate them? Because, like you said, I think there is this notion that Michigan can be an Alabama or an Ohio State or what have you. I think it takes a little bit of luck to do that. You got to luck yourself. You got to not only be a good program, but you have to luck into a couple of all-time great coaches in those situations. And Jim Harbaugh's a good coach. I don't think we can call him a great coach, but he's a good football coach, and he's. The one thing that he does, and Michigan not winning a Big Ten title, not competing, that predates him. Lloyd Carr didn't do it the last couple of years he was there. Rich Rod certainly never did it. Again, we talk about hollow seasons, and this wasn't completely a hollow season, but 2011, Michigan goes to the Sugar Bowl, beats Ohio State, but it was a 6-6 Ohio State team that had all kinds of problems with that was between Tressel and Urban Meyer and all those things. So
wasn't it Fickell the coach at the time?
Luke Fickell was there, right?
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah, so it's like you 11-2, like, yeah, but you didn't win a Big Ten title. You beat Ohio State, but it was with the asterisk of it's not really what Ohio State has been. So I just look at Michigan and what ails them. It's a team and a program that has a really rough time staying out of its own way. It would be amazing if even just they cut a lot of those self-inflicted mistakes, cut them down by 25%, because it seems like in big games and big moments, they all go against them. And I think some of that, most of that is self-inflicted.
So we were talking a little bit earlier about when you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback. Why is it Jim Harbaugh, quarterback guru, coached Andrew Luck, like this was supposed to be the feather in his cap, but we've ran through Joe Milton, I could go through a list of about 40 quarterbacks over the course of 7 years. Why can't he just get the quarterback position right? Like, what do you feel is missing in the recruiting, in the transfer portal? Because even when we get like a Shane Morris or people coming in here that are supposed to be the next guy, they just haven't been able to perform in this offense. And you see the offense a lot of the times has guys open, just the quarterback can't get them the ball.
Oh yeah, I mean we could probably do a couple hours on this one, but, and Adam will come after me because this will come off as me letting Cade McNamara off the hook. But I think when I look at this year's team, Cade has played fine. Is fine going to win you Big Ten titles? Is it going to get you to the college football playoff? No, it's not going to. But I think that what we've seen out of J.J. McCarthy this year is that, this isn't a guy where Trevor Lawrence or an all-time generational type of guy is sitting there waiting to play. Now, J.J. McCarthy is insanely talented. You see it. And if you want to make the argument that maybe they sort of missed an opportunity or botched an opportunity to get him in the mix a little earlier on. I mean, when you look at how Michigan started, whatever it was, a 7-0 start, they were running the hell out of the football. And you probably could have won with that formula with J.J. McCarthy there still. But what we've seen when J.J. has come into games is that a lot of his wow plays where you see the arm talent, you see the scrambling ability, a lot of those have come on plays where it's like one of those no. Okay, well, that worked type of things. But the only way you get better is by being on the field more. And I look at Cade McNamara. He's been exactly kind of what they've asked him to be, which is this is the key here. What they've asked him to be, run the offense, gets them into the red zone. Now everything falls apart in the red zone, and you don't really have a go-to wide receiver or target down there. And to me. Again, this isn't leaving the quarterbacks or throwing them under the bus, but I think that their play calling in the red zone, I think, has been a disaster. I think their wide receiver development has been not great. Losing Ronnie Bell that first week of the year doesn't help them at all. But those are two responsibilities that fall on offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis, and he's coordinated, I believe, 28 or 29 games now, and people keep saying, "Oh, wait for it. When he gets into a rhythm, you see. But you're 30 games almost into a career, and you kind of are what you are. I think the play calling is a little too cute. I think the wide receivers don't get a ton of separation down the field. I think that's a huge issue for them. And when you look at Cade McNamara's box scores or statistics, I think a lot of times you'll see 6 yards per attempt, 6.5 yards per attempt, something around that number. I think that's really indicative of the games that are being called too. And even, it predates Cade and JJ. It's when Shea Patterson was there, the reins were kind of on him. When Joe Milton was there. Now, Joe Milton wasn't, probably the worst of that group. He wasn't quite John O'Korn, but in terms of a guy who just couldn't make throws, he'd try to you want him to rip the ball down the field, but then maybe he'd hit the popcorn vendor in the side of the head in row 6 or something. So it's just, I don't see a lot of trust in whatever quarterback is out there. And there's this narrative that, if JJ comes in, all of a sudden it's, here we go. It's time to open things up. Let it rip, kid. I just don't see a scenario where I think the play calling probably gets more conservative if he's out there, which I just think is a detriment to them. They've missed a lot of opportunities by not, especially in that Michigan State game, by not just going for the kill shot.
Yeah. Yeah, Anthony, I think the biggest thing I've noticed, I know JJ has clear arm talent over Cade, and I think you hit it on the head when you said fine isn't going to win you a Big Ten championship. It isn't going to get you a victory in the college football playoff, let alone a natty. And I think that's the biggest frustration. I would prefer Jim Harbaugh this year to go 9-3 with JJ McCarthy starting the entire year, then going, let's say, 10-2, or if they go 11-1, I need to shut the hell up. But the point is, if they have a similar record or even one win more, I'd prefer the kid that you think has a higher ceiling, which I think we can all agree. We think this kid can be something. I prefer him to get the reps, and I think they really botched that early on in the year when they were rolling teams. But I disagree on maybe the conservative play calling. I see JJ driving the ball on comeback routes, dig routes. These are throws that Cade, it's not that he doesn't make them. He doesn't even see the routes developing. He can't even throw the ball 12, 14, 15 yards downfield on a line to the sideline or back shoulder. I think that's the biggest really detriment to this offense is if they don't move the ball without rushing it, it's, a gadget screen. It's a little dump off to the tight end and it's like, all right, well, let's hope to God we're in a 3rd and 3 situation and we can move the chains. But I'm not seeing anything special out of the team, and I think it does take special to win a Big Ten championship, to win in the college football playoff. And if Michigan don't have that, well, then what are you working towards? Just 9-10 win seasons? Again, I think Harbaugh's a good coach, but when are you going to take the chance and become special? I think the Mike McDonald hired was absolutely great. I think he's done a much better job than Don Brown's ever done. But we see the same collapses, though, later on in the games. It can't happen. Eventually, they got to change the narrative. That's just where I'm at. You got to get the quarterback right. You got to beat Ohio State, got to beat Michigan State, and make a trip to Indianapolis.
But even if the next quarterback's the right quarterback, we're looking at like 8-9 years to get that quarterback right the first time. And that's just crazy to me. It's crazy that it's taken that long. Yeah. It's Michigan. Bring in a quarterback.
Yeah, they have all the resources. They don't have any excuse not to get this right. But regardless, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. This was so much fun. I don't even want to go to break. Honestly, I have so many more questions. But we need to do this again, maybe next week after the Penn State game. Hopefully Michigan wins, so we have something spicy to talk about. But regardless, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you next week, hopefully, if you're available. Would love to catch up more. But everybody, Anthony Broome, staff writer for thewolverine.com. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you. I'm sure either way we'll have something spicy to talk about, Adam. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Anthony. When we come back, we've got some NFL, not drama, but news to talk about. Cam Newton. We've got OBJ. All of that coming up next. But first, our friends with the best defense over at Guardian Alarm.
Yeah, Guardian Alarm, that's where you need to go to put the defense on your house. Actually, I wish the Lions could sign Guardian Alarm. I wish Michigan could sign Guardian Alarm. I wish Michigan State could sign Guardian Alarm, because if that was the case, their secondary, you could never get by it because they're indefensible. They have the best defense system on the planet, and they're a local company right here in Detroit, and you got to support local because they're protecting your stuff. And what's more important than all of the things that you possess? So make sure you have a wall up for it with Guardian Alarm. And it's real easy to call them right now. You can do it. 1-800, help me out, Fish. What is it?
Stay out.
1-800?
Stay out.
One more time, 1-800?
Stay out. Get out of my house.
Stay out of my house. Call Guardian Alarm today to make sure that you have the best protection in the land.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, so let's start with Cam Newton. You guys, you can't be mad at this signing. I think this is where he's supposed to be. I like it. Cam Newton rejoining the Carolina Panthers on a 1-year, $10 million deal. You guys, your thoughts?
Look, you guys, I am one of those outspoken people about getting your quarterback right. And when Matt Rule took over, it was an obvious rebuild. I mean, this is a roster that was a Super Bowl roster, I want to say 4 or 5 years prior, and they never really found their footing after that 13-3 season. New ownership group, and then Matt Rule comes in. I believe it's a 10-year deal he got, or 8 years, something along those lines. It was like a long-term, big-picture thing. So what does Matt Rule come in? He comes in, and they get rid of Cam Newton, and it's, we're going to go with Teddy Bridgewater for the year just to get by. We're going to rebuild. And instead of drafting a quarterback, they trade a 6th, a 2nd, and a 4th for Sam Darnold. He looks good 3 games into the year, and then that kind of injury problems, turnover machine. That doesn't work out.
Sam Darnold.
Basically, yeah. So that doesn't look good at all. But they're sitting, I believe they're 4-5 right now. But regardless, this is a team that statistically has improved. You kind of look at it like, oh, okay, they're coaching well. They have injuries, but if you don't have a quarterback stick, I mean, we always talk about this. You have nothing.
Especially in the NFL.
And when you're paying Cam Newton now, you're paying Teddy Bridgewater, you're paying now Sam Darnold. That's problematic. Get the quarterback right. I don't care how well you draft, how well you scout, how well your free agency signings are. I don't care about any of that. If you can't get your quarterback right, you're not going to succeed in this league. So Matt Rule, you're on on the hot seat in terms of getting your quarterback right. You have a 1.5 year window to really figure it out. That's the reality. Cam Newton's going to come in for the rest of the year. I don't expect this team to really contend, even with Cam Newton, but I think they're showing their intention. They're not going to go in the tank and finish 4-13, 5-12. They're trying to win 8, 9, 10 games. I think that's the message at least I got from the Cam Newton signing.
Well, first of all, can we clap it up for Cam Newton for getting the bag? I mean, how much were the Patriots paying him the last couple of years? Hey, we'll give you a 1 year, $1 million contract with a bunch of incentives. And if you hit them, then you'll actually make your money.
I can't, because the way he spends his money, I don't agree with it. Did you see what he was wearing?
Oh, yeah. Cam's got that wardrobe,
You
baby.
call it swag, I call it CTE.
Yeah,
all right? You call it what you want.
Nothing I would wear, but dude, they're giving him $10 million with
it's a great deal.
4.5 guaranteed.
Great deal.
So if I'm Cam Newton,
not
I'm
playing
about
this week,
life.
but he'll play next week.
Yeah.
I think it's a good move for them. Good.
He's getting paid. He's going to get paid $10 million for half a season. That's amazing.
He's coming into a good situation. McCaffrey's finally back healthy.
And
DJ Moore is emerging as a damn good.
McCaffrey has to be the happiest boy on the planet right now, because Cam Newton does not have that rocket arm anymore. He's not going to be chucking the ball down the field. So what's he going to be doing? Check down.
McCaffrey is not the happiest person in the world. Christian McCaffrey fantasy owners.
Oh, there you go.
The happiest people in the world. That is who was happy this morning. But another signing that kind of took the league by storm yesterday.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr. We talked about this yesterday, and he wanted more targets, but he wanted to play for a contender. Well, he was playing for a contender in Cleveland, and let's be honest, he's probably the most skillful wide receiver on that team, but he wasn't getting targets. And now he's going to a situation in LA where he has to deal with Cooper Kupp, on pace to break every record a wide receiver has ever held. Robert Woods, a damn good wide receiver. Van Jefferson, who is emerging as probably their favorite third down target right now in Los Angeles. And a good run game, Tyler Higbee. What? Maybe he's just there to try and win a Super Bowl. I don't know. But if he really wanted targets, I thought Green Bay was the play. But whatever. I'm not going to sit here and say I love the move. I don't think it makes them any better. I don't think he gets what he wants. He's not getting 6, 7 targets a game. Unless they just throw the ball 70 times, which they're not going to do, because that would put Stafford in a bad spot.
Well, here's the deal. Matthew Stafford, you have no excuses now. If you do not win a Super Bowl this year, every narrative that was here about you in Detroit can no longer be said, that you didn't have the right pieces around you, that they didn't have the right team around, the right coaching, the right wide receivers, the right weapons, all of that stuff. You can no longer say that. They have overloaded Matthew Stafford with weapons at this point. And to your point about Odell Beckham maybe not getting targets, that's one of my concerns with him going somewhere, because to me, he's been a cancer everywhere he went. Joique Bell did not agree with me on that yesterday.
Joique Bell's a former player, that's why.
Yeah, but honestly, like from the outside, if a team's just like, I don't want you playing for us anymore, we're not worried about getting anything back for you. We just don't want you in our locker room anymore.
And then they go out and beat the first-place team in their division?
That's a clear sign that you're not great for the culture. Then you put Odell Beckham in L.A., that's another problematic scenario. He's going to be out there trying to stun on everybody, going crazy.
Well, he's going to have to deal with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. And if Jalen Ramsey can stay put and be a team leader, which he is actually, considering what he was, I think out of all situations, LA, I think he'll button up. He has to. He has no choice.
Ramsey, to me, is a different situation than Odell. Ramsey isn't about the flash. Ramsey isn't rolling in trying to get all the attention on him at all times. Odell is now in a spot, LA, which is the fakest place on the planet, where everybody is just all about getting their attention, all about getting their roses. I think I wanted Odell to go to the Packers so he could ruin the franchise. That didn't happen, obviously. So with the Rams, I could see him working in this offense. They're going to have to run 4 wide constantly now.
Well, that's going to be a problem. When they're out 4 wide, you got to have a back in the backfield or a tight end blocking, because you're not going to leave Stafford on an island with just 5 linemen, although they have a good old line. It's not something you want to do often, but I'm just thinking from a schematic standpoint, if I line up 4 wide receiver set, good luck. Good luck. You're not doubling anybody. You're not going to play zone. If you play man-to-man, I'm going to beat you. I mean, it's a great problem to have. My biggest, now, I don't want to say expectation, but the narrative was what it was before Odell Beckham ever arrived. It was, hey, you better get to an NFC championship this year, and you probably need to win a Super Bowl in the 2 years that you're there. This only amplifies that.
Yep.
But look, Stafford, we can all say what we want about him. I want to see how it plays out in December. in January. I don't want to see September, October, November Stafford. That's he looks damn good. He does. But I don't.
Last game he was not looking. Last game was a lot of the Stafford that we saw here in Detroit, and it was
little
the first
moments
time,
that cost the team the game.
That and the pitter patter of his feet in the pocket. I really hadn't seen that with him playing for the Rams. Like he was like Tom Brady, just kind of sitting there bouncing, just nice.
Well,
and
he was
calm.
sacked all season only 7 times. I think in that game he was sacked 4 or 5 times.
And there you go. That's the Achilles heel of
For
pretty much any
quarterback,
quarterback,
yeah.
right? You put pressure on him, but Stafford seems to always just go nuts, man, and like throw the pick 6 and then back it up with another pick. 6. It was like, what are you doing? So, as much as I love Matthew Stafford, and I think he was the best Lions quarterback we've ever had, he had his faults, and some of those warts are going to start showing in LA.
And I think that's on Sean McVay, though, to cover up. I've seen this with Sean McVay now for almost, how many games are we in? 9 games now? You got to chill out. I know you have a new sexy, flashy toy in Matthew Stafford. You want him to sling it around. But, man, what made Sean McVay so great those first 3-4 years with Jared Goff? It was the deception, the movement, the motion, play action, a hard play action rollout, those little dump offs to the tight ends. Make teams second guess what you're doing. Don't just line up in the shotgun and run the ball through the shotgun, run everything out of the shotgun like you're Patrick Mahomes, you're Josh. You're not. No. Do what makes you great. Protect your quarterback. If you protect Matthew Stafford in that standpoint, I think this team becomes even more difficult to play against. But regardless, the Odell Beckham move, I think it's whatever. I think he'll fit there from a locker room standpoint. He has no choice. There's no new contract if he doesn't play ball with a Super Bowl contending team. It's that simple. This is a Super Bowl contending team. If I'm a GM around the league and you can't behave there, and they're 7-2, and they're probably going to finish the season 13-4, 12-5, I'm not signing you.
But to your point, how's he going to get targets, man? I'm not going to stop targeting Cooper Kupp.
No.
Like, that guy's going to keep getting the ball. He's my first, second, and third read pretty much on every play. And then you got Robert Woods. Then you got Van Jefferson. Then,
Tyler Higbee, Darrell Henderson's running the ball.
I don't see how he's going to get the ball enough to make him happy. And that's all that Odell Beckham is about, is his happiness. He doesn't care about the team winning.
Yeah, I think that's evident. Before we head to break, I want to give a very special shout-out to LeBron James.
Oh.
My goodness, I'm so glad I can say this word on air. He is the biggest bitch I have ever met in my life. Not only does he go after people out on Twitter, people he has no idea what the even situation they're going through, but no. He says, Odell Beckham, the king is finally here, or he's going to shine, and watch out, NFL. Watch out what, bro? His last 13 games, he's caught 39 passes. Kennedy Broadwell could line up in the slot and catch more passes over a 13-game stretch.
Yeah, it's only 39 more than Kennedy caught.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
Unbelievable. But Kennedy, we got to go to break.
We do, and that means I have to tell you all about the Woodward Sports Turkey Games, which Stick did such a great job of helping put together, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Woodward Sports will help you guys win 2 tickets to the Detroit Thanksgiving game just for competing in our red light, green light, egg target toss, and honeycomb challenge. So make sure you guys are listening/watching Woodward Sports at 9 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m. during all of our live shows, and following us on social media for a chance for some additional qualifications. But we will qualify you, and then if you win, you get tickets, front row tickets at that, to the Thanksgiving game. All right, you guys, when we come back, we will get into some Lions, and we will qualify someone in just 2 minutes, so we will see you after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, it is 8:59. So, boys, this means we have to think of something to qualify someone because it is coming up on 9 a.m. So, what should the word of the day in the chat be?
The word of the day, I think, should be fish.
All right, there
it.
You go. First person put fish in the chat. You will be qualified for our Woodward Sports Turkey Games for a chance to win 2 front row tickets to the Thanksgiving game against the Bears. All right, when we see it in the chat, we will announce it. But I want to get into the Lions taking on the Steelers. The last time they beat the Steelers was when I was born, 1998. Brutal. But
your own Bettis game.
I'll take heads. Tails.
The Lions are coming off of a bye, so hopefully they will be ready. The Steelers had a short week. They had the Bears in Monday Night Football, and they looked a little rough. That secondary, their offense wasn't looking great. So you guys preview this game for me. But first, we have a winner. D. Smitty in the chat was the first to say fish. So congrats. I will reach out to you.
Congrats, D. Smitty.
Congrats, buddy.
I'll get you hooked up. All right, but you guys, your thoughts on this weekend's matchup?
This is a tough game, man. On the road in Pittsburgh, you're 0-8. You're coming off a bye week. I want to say it's going to be a close game. I want to say Pittsburgh are going to stumble a little bit. They just had a Monday night game, so they're technically on a short week. They just played a tough game against the Chicago Bears. Now they're playing the Detroit Lions, who have had now 2 weeks basically to prep for this game. I'd like Detroit to cover the 8.5 in this game, but I'm looking at the schedule, and I don't want to look ahead too far, but like, where's the wins? Outside of maybe Chicago on Thanksgiving and Atlanta, but Atlanta's what, 4-5, and they just beat, or 4-4, and they just beat the New Orleans Saints, so they're not even a pushover. Like, it's getting. You got to pull something. You got to pull off an upset. You got to beat somebody. Don't walk in 0-10 at Thanksgiving. I think they got to win one out of the next two. It's going to be, you don't want to get numb to losing. That's at least where I'm at. You don't want to keep losing. I don't care if they play it close or they get blown. Just, come on. Just get one. Luck into one at least. They've been unlucky all year. Luck into one at least. Please. Like, I don't want to sit here on Thanksgiving Day downtown and talk about how they're 0-10 and they're playing the Chicago Bears. Hopefully today's the first day. Like, that is, I would
love to do a post game where we're talking about a win. I would love that.
I'm sure
more than
you
anything
would.
In my life.
I'm sure you would.
I had no idea that 8 weeks into the season that at the brass rail for the post game that I'd be sitting there still talking about losses. But this game is weird because both these teams are kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know which team is going to show up. They're both kind of inconsistent. But with that being said, an inconsistent Steelers team is still 5-3. And it's so crazy to me that we look at the Steelers like, oh, they're having a rough season. Like, look at these guys. They're struggling right along. And they're 5-3. I would love to be struggling along at 5-3 as
Well, you
a
look
Lions
at the
fan.
organization, right? You look at, honestly, like Mike Tomlin. I know a lot of people want to call him overrated, can't win the big games. If I went my whole career as a head coach and I had to play Tom Brady every single freaking offseason, what am I supposed to do?
And how can you say that? He's won 2 big games.
He's won 2 really big games,
Right.
multiple AFC championship appearances, multiple divisions. But regardless, the consistency is there. He's never had a losing season. Not many coaches can say that, if any. And he's been now, his 15th season? He's a damn good coach, that's a winning culture. That is sustainability, obviously, that everybody wishes for. But look, Pittsburgh, this is, I talk about this with Jeff a lot. It's like a narrative game. Pittsburgh, you're 5-3. Baltimore just dropped a game. Cincinnati are playing Cleveland. No, they just played Cleveland. They lost. They both are now playing games. You kind of want to avoid losing to the Detroit Lions. Nothing against the Detroit Lions, but you're looking at the schedule. Guys, Cleveland plays Detroit next. So we don't want to drop a game against this team, and then Cleveland beats them, and then we just look like idiots.
Right.
Narrative-wise, Pittsburgh has to take care of business. I think the only concern I have for the Detroit Lions really is the run game.
Yeah, how do we stop Najee Harris?
How do you stop Najee Harris?
How?
Chicago can because they have a great front seven. Detroit's front seven is kind of inconsistent, unproven, and
the one thing we have going for us is it doesn't look like Chase Claypool is going to be playing this week.
That is a good sign, but Deontay Johnson is just as much of a baller.
Deontay Johnson, you got James Washington who can stretch the field and do some things, but Claypool to me is like next level. So without him being there, at least we could focus a little bit more in targeting on Najee Harris. And if you haven't watched Najee Harris or the Steelers play this year, it's absolutely insane the usage that this rookie is getting. I saw a stat that he's getting 80% of all of their runs. 80%. And this is in an NFL now where it's pretty much a 50-50 tandem league. Like if you get a guy getting 60, 65%.
Only Derrick Henry comes to mind in total who actually absorbs that amount of carries.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara splits carries. Christian McCaffrey, to an extent, split carries first game back with Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook even splits
Nick
carries
Chubb
with Madison.
splits carries.
Nick Chubb. It's a common thing in today's NFL, but Najee is just a different breed. And I'm really annoyed with what the commentators did on ESPN because they made it seem like this dude was living on a floor.
Oh, I love that. I love that. If you didn't watch, what was that, Monday Night Football this week?
Man.
Steve Levy's talking about, and there's Najee Harris. You know, he slept on the floor in college because he grew up homeless, and that's what he was used to. Like the dude's Crocodile Dundee, and like has to sleep on the floor because he was born in the wild. And then after the game, Najee Harris gets on Twitter and he's like, I slept in a bed. Like I never slept on the floor. And they had him confused with Josh Jacobs. That was the former Alabama running back that slept on the floor in college. But still, on a national broadcast, to be clowning a guy and like, I just hate how ESPN loves to lowlight people. Like, oh, hey, he had 150 yards rushing tonight, but his mom was a crackhead in 2003. It's like, what does that have to do with anything?
I just think sports networks have turned into more like news, commentary than like actual what we all care about, which is sports. It's so weird to watch. Like, I don't need to know that your mother was charged with domestic violence or your father, etc. Like, why do I need to know this? I need to know how many fantasy points you're getting me tonight.
Yeah, are you healthy?
Are you okay?
Are you fitting in the scheme of the offense? Like that, I don't care about your past. I really don't.
Stick, someone's calling you out in the chat. Speaking of people that may not be sleeping in a bed, Chuck says, Stick, in a post-game show, remember talking about staying on a roof until the Lions win?
I do remember that, and we talked about it, and we tried to execute it. There's just no way for me to live on a roof for a week right now.
Ah, dang. No one will lend you their roof?
I pitched the idea. No, I have the roof. I have all that. I pitched the idea.
Yeah, you talked about it. You were really serious.
I was serious, but unfortunately, we got a lot of stuff to accomplish here at Woodward Sports, and me living on a roof for perpetual eternity, maybe. If I'm up there till February, ain't nothing getting done here.
I mean, let's be honest, and I hate to be that guy.
You have great internet up
there. If you go on that roof, Stick, you're likely not coming off till next September, October.
See, I think I'd be off by Thanksgiving.
Wait, do you have to come on? Do you have to get off the roof when they win? Or at the end of the season?
No, when they win a game.
That was the thing. I was like, I'm going to go live on a roof till the Lions win.
So
if they don't win, several years ago when they started out 0-5, I tried to get on a billboard, but the billboard company wouldn't let me live up there because of liability. But we got the roof and all that. It's just, I don't know. I want to do it.
So
if
they don't win,
my mind. Go ahead, Fish.
If they don't win, right, past February, you have to stay up there. February, March, April, May.
Yep.
June, July,
August. I'd build a little condo up there. I'd invite Lions players just to see how I'm living.
Well, look, I mean, if you're the Detroit Lions, you've had 2 weeks now to prep for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can't come out and get throttled this game. You can't get ran all over. You got to figure out something. If you can't come off a 2-week prep for a Pittsburgh Steelers, let's be honest, we agree they're not one of the best teams in the NFL, but the defense is legit.
Right.
So that's going to be problematic, especially with Jared Goff, who loves to hold on to the football, who can't even make reads down the field. So J.J. Watt probably T.J. Watt gets another 3 sacks this game. But I think the biggest takeaway, hopefully, on Sunday is this team comes out and they really put in an effort. They're 8.5-point favorites. I think that's pretty or underdogs. It's pretty spot on, but it could get ugly. If Pittsburgh run the ball, this game is going to get really ugly. They're going to control the clock. Lions aren't going to have many possessions. They're going to have to force the ball downfield, and Jared Goff is going to do what Jared Goff loves to do, which is turn the ball over. I don't know. I'm really going to watch this game with like a paper bag next to me because I'm going to have to vomit. I'm really nervous about this game.
That's how we started the last post-game show with paper bags on our heads. I mean, that loss to the Eagles was just
Speaking of people who get butthurt about the loss to the Eagles, Kennedy, can you explain to Stick what happened on TikTok with you and Alex Mayer?
Oh, my gosh. The Lions are mad at me on TikTok.
The Lions?
The Lions. I posted a TikTok of Alex Mayer and I at the game, and the stadium was empty, right? Everyone had left.
Thanks for including me.
You weren't in the TikTok, Fish, but he was there.
I was at the game.
He was there. Confirmed. But I panned the stadium, and I said, do you guys want to see something really sad? And I panned, and it was an empty Ford Field. And then I switched the camera to Mayer and I said, there's 12 people in this bitch, and you and I are 2 of them. And Mayer goes, I think there might be 13. And that was the end of the TikTok. And the Lions commented, I thought this was a Woodward Sports post with a cringe emoji because it was on my personal TikTok account. I was like, oh, y'all weren't supposed to see that. But I wasn't being mean. It was true. The stadium was empty. You talked to everyone leaving the game. You saw it happening.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, during that game, we're sitting at the brass rail, which is within walking distance of Ford Field. It's pretty much right on Adams right there. And, yeah, you usually see the mass exodus fourth quarter-ish. It was like 2 minutes into the third quarter that everybody just started leaving that game. And that's when I went out on the street and started asking people to describe the Lions in one word, and that got pretty crazy.
And that's also when some guy approached you.
Yeah, he wanted to fight me, Fish. he definitely wanted to fight me. But yeah, that stadium cleared out early. I mean, and on top of that, that was the first time since I believe 2016 that attendance had dipped below 50,000.
Yeah, that was their worst attendance in years.
Yeah, so you're compounding it. Not only are people leaving early, there's less people there.
To begin with,
yeah. So, I mean, outside of Thanksgiving Day, I don't know if they're going to sell out another game this season.
All the people have to get home and see the kids and take them trick-or-treating.
Fish hates people that leave early.
I know. I made Fish leave the Toledo BG game early because BG was getting blown out, and I think he was mad at me.
No, I wasn't mad. I definitely would have stayed till the end. It was cold. I will give her that. It was cold.
Okay, well, we have to go to break. Coming up next, Alex Mayer, our Woodward Sports Spartans football beat reporter, will be joining the show next. Can't wait to talk to him. But first, we need to tell you about our friends over at the Foaling Warehouse.
Everybody, the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck is a great time. Home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Host your corporate party, team building event, or just come with family and friends. 2 ways to play. A $10 unlimited open play. You can stay the whole time that we're open the whole day, or you reserve a private lane up to 10 people for $120 for 2 hours. I can't wait. We're going to do a team bonding event there soon. Super excited for that. But they also have over 100 beers, a $2 Mystic beer machine, and, of course, multiple bars throughout the facility. You can bring your own food or have it delivered. Come and get your full on. Check it out, foldingwarehouse.com. That's foldingwarehouse.com in Hamtramck.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone. We are so excited to talk some Spartans football with our Woodward Sports insider, Alex Mayer. It will be so exciting. Can't wait to get him on the screen and talk Michigan State with him. They are taking on Maryland this weekend. They should win, I think.
No, this is a tough game. No, Maryland played a really good game last week. They're a problem. They move offensively. Tua's brother, I forget his first name. Do you know the brother's name at Maryland, the quarterback Tagovailoa, what his first name is?
Yeah, little Tua.
I don't know how to say his name. It's complicated. But regardless, Maryland moved the ball. I don't want to say it's a trap game, but look, if you're Michigan State, you control your own destiny. You took a hit last week against Purdue. You kind of can't afford another hit. You really can. The Ohio State game is really going to determine your season. And Alex Mayer is like on our screen right now, so that's great.
It's so regardless, weird to see Alex right behind us.
Let's just get started with this. Alex, thanks for joining us. Let me start with this. Preview me one expectations going into the game, and more importantly, what's the game plan against Maryland? This secondary has been exposed now for 2 straight weeks. One, have the coaches been working with them and trying to get them in better positions to succeed? And really, number 2, are you kind of nervous about Maryland exposing that secondary as well?
First of all, let me just say I can't stop smiling because I'm usually on the other side of this. This is really weird for me, but oh, and Adam, to your point, the quarterback's name is, I believe it's pronounced Taulia or Tualia.
Yeah, don't bother. I tried. I can't. So
I think it's Tualia.
Tualia? Okay, so Tualia Tagovailoa. And yeah, you really do have to be worried about the secondary being exposed once again in this game. Maryland is the second best passing offense in the entire Big Ten, and Tualia Tagovailoa is a big reason for that. The expectation for this game is Michigan State really just cannot get into a shootout. Maryland loves to score points, and it's when they score points, they more likely than not win the game. In their 5 wins this season, they average 38 points per game, and in their 4 losses this season, they average 15 points per game. So if Michigan State ends up getting in a shootout in this game, they could be in for they could be on upset alert. You know, they're a 13-point favorite in this one. I don't know how much I buy into that, but you know, Michigan State, they need to go back to their big play offense that they saw success with earlier in the season, in wins against Rutgers, in wins against Youngstown State, Miami, games like those where you just dominated on the offense, dominated on the offensive side of the ball to the point where, you know, your passing defense could get gashed a little bit and you can still be comfortable in this game.
So how much of the Michigan hangover do you think played into them getting upset last weekend? And do you think that loss snapped them back to what they were going into the Michigan game, or do you think there's still going to be a little bit of a hangover now?
I wouldn't say that the hangover carries over into the Maryland game, but I would say it did affect them in the Purdue game. The Purdue game was definitely a trap game for the Spartans, and they got trapped. There was no way around it. And Purdue, give credit to Purdue. They're a good team. Obviously, they've showed it this season by beating number 2 ranked Iowa at the time. Hell, they have the most wins against top 5 ranked opponents as an unranked opponent themselves. I believe they have 17 in like their school history, which is
the spoiler makers, baby.
About. What's that?
The spoiler makers. That's like my new favorite nickname for anybody.
The spoiler makers.
Yeah.
But if it carries over into this game, then you know you can kiss your college football playoff hopes goodbye. This game is a lot of things for the Spartans. One, it's a bounce back game. How is Mel Tucker going to rally his guys to put this loss behind? They've more than put the Purdue loss behind them, but it's just a matter of how they come out of the locker room on Saturday against Maryland. Can they put up points on their first drive? And another thing this game is for Michigan State is it's a turnaround game. How do you respond? How does the offense come out? And like, what adjustments did the coaching staff put into place and practice this week to help out the porous secondary that was exposed against Purdue? And it's also a must-win game. I mean, if you lose this game, you're not only kissing goodbye your college football playoff hopes, but you're probably kissing goodbye Indianapolis. So.
Alex, this is a huge game, in my opinion, for Kenneth Walker. I think he's the clear Heisman frontrunner. Look, I say this all the time. He's had like 3-4 Heisman moments. I can't find a quarterback, running back, receiver anywhere around the country that's had one. So I think he's the clear frontrunner. It's going to take the impossible for him not to win it, but I'm kind of nervous because how the committee thinks of Michigan State, how the national media really doesn't take them too seriously, that if they lose 2 of the next 3 games, he may not even win it, and I think that'd be a travesty because I think he's the best player in college football this year. I think he's having the most dynamic year. I'm expecting him to go off for 200-plus yards this game, multiple touchdowns. I think that is a must. If he can do that against Maryland, you can almost book the Heisman because I think he'll run fine against Ohio State. I think he'll be okay against Penn State. This is the game you want to stack up those numbers, and if you can do that, give him the Heisman. Am I missing something on Kenneth Walker? Or is there anybody you guys can tell me that is more deserving of the Heisman this year? Because I've looked. It's not Matt Corral. It's not Malik Willis. It's not even Pickett out in Pittsburgh. It's not Bryce Young. He's struggled multiple times this year. Where's his Heisman moment? It's only going to come against Georgia?
Kenneth Walker, though, still has to put on some big performances.
Of course.
Like, what he's done now, it puts him in the front-runner position. But what he's done to this point hasn't secured it by far and away. So, I mean, there's still time left in the season for somebody to come up and catch him from behind. But to me, I'm with you. He's the front runner. And when you're watching him, he's the most electric and dynamic player in college football. But he needs a big game this weekend to kind of get back on track. I mean, even though he had $130 and a touchdown last game.
That was a good game.
But not for him. Well, not for the Heisman. And in a loss.
Let's fast forward. I know, but let's fast forward, right? January comes, we're giving away the Heisman, etc. everyone's going to look back and, again, I can't predict the future over the next 3 games, what another player around the country could do.
Right.
But what I know for sure is we're going to have to sample Kenneth Walker's 5-touchdown, 200-yard performance against Michigan, a battle of undefeateds versus Bryce Young versus Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. And that's going to be a tough one to top. Out of all the Heisman moments that could happen still, I think that one is far and beyond above anybody else's. And I think that's what gets him it. RG3 won it when they lost 3 games. But again, he's a quarterback. Derrick Henry, I believe, won it when they were a 2-loss team, if I recall correctly. But regardless, Kenneth Walker, right now, we can agree, the favorite, but he's got business to take care of. Alex, are you on the same page with us?
I couldn't agree with you more, Adam. It's hard for me to believe that,
I know.
It's hard for me to believe that Kenneth Walker III is a Heisman candidate at this point. When you think about Michigan State football, you really just don't think about Heisman candidates. We usually don't have anyone sitting in that chair in New York at that ceremony. And I think Kenneth Walker has already secured his spot in New York. As for how he can win it, he's got to go out and perform in these last 3 games. And, you look back to previous Heisman winners, pretty much every Heisman winner, they're playing in important games late in the season. And Michigan State has that coming up after Maryland. They're at Ohio State, then a home date with Penn State. Judging on what happens in those 3 games, you could be playing in Indianapolis. And if he's playing in Indianapolis in front of the whole country, on a huge stage, and arguably the toughest conference in college football this year, and he goes out there and puts up 100 yards, a touchdown, a couple scores, who knows? His name could be called in New York. So, again, I'm not getting my hopes up right now, but like you said, I totally agree with you. The Heisman moment, he had multiple Heisman moments in that Michigan game. And, maybe the quarterback guy from Alabama is, like, hot on his tail. Who knows? I haven't seen much out of Alabama. I saw they lost to Texas A&M. That's about it. All I'm seeing now is Kenneth Walker is putting up numbers, and he's putting up Heisman numbers, quite frankly.
Yeah, and he's got to do it again this weekend to keep that train rolling, not only for himself, but for Michigan State, because that's the one thing about Michigan State is without Kenneth Walker, that's a completely different team, which I know is pretty obvious to say when somebody is a Heisman Trophy winner. But you take him off that team, it's scary where they would have to find their offense.
Yeah, it is scary. The playing status of Jalen Naylor is up in the air. So we have Jaden Reed as our number 1 wideout coming into this game. I think a big key for the Spartans against Maryland is, can they surprise the Terrapins and get a guy like Montori Foster or Malik Carr, who's a big tight end who's standing at 6'5", guys that are not on the scouting report. Get them involved, get them to have a big game, and catch the Terrapins by surprise. Score some points on a play-action bootleg pass to Malik Carr. Give more jet sweeps to Jaden Reed. Trick plays that are gonna help this team not only win this game, but prove to the College Football Playoff Committee that they are a complete team. They have the coaching, they have the trickery, they have what it takes to be in that one of those Final 4 teams. So they got to beat up on this Maryland team this weekend. And,
Fair enough. Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll see you later today. Alex Mayer.
You just cut him off mid-sentence.
Oh, did I?
You butthole.
Well,
do you not have your headphones in anymore?
I took it off. I thought he stopped talking.
Are you? His mouth's moving. Mayor, we're sorry. We love you.
No, we don't.
Wait, Mayor, I do have a question for you. Because what even is a terrapin? Genuinely.
It's a turtle.
How would he know? He's Michigan State.
They're the Maryland Turtles?
The snapping turtles, yeah.
Oh.
That's
okay.
why nobody takes them seriously.
Okay. Scary. Okay. Anyway, well, go green, go white.
Go white.
Thank you, Fish. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, Alex. It's fun to have you on this show. We'll see you later on the bottom line.
Woodward Sports Network, bottom line.
Bottom line. Thanks, Alex.
All right, you guys. We got to go to break.
Thanks for having me.
And we will go around the NFL, preview some more games going on this weekend. But first, we need to hear about our friends right here at Lady Jane's.
Yeah, if you're looking for a haircut, you want to look crispy this weekend, you're going out, you want to look nice, you want to impress some ladies, well, there's only one place to go. That is Lady Jane's. They have tons of locations all over Metro Detroit, open 10 a.m. till 8 daily. So there's never a time where you can't come look your best and get treated like a king. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome, so make sure you come here. You can come to our facility too, watch a show live while you're getting your haircut. You see Alyssa all the time right behind Kennedy cutting hair, and you could watch the whole show while you're getting a haircut. So you can do that here at the Lady Jane's in Birmingham. They got Royal Oak, they got Troy, all over the place. So make sure if you're looking for a clean haircut, there's only one place that you go. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuned into the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar, 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Happy Friday, everyone. You have almost made it to the weekend, but we have to get into some NFL talk. I want to start with the Browns taking on the Pats. I think this will be a really close game. That's our boy Fish in the dog pound.
Fish, I hate you and all of Ohio. How about that? Fair?
Yeah, absolutely fair.
Fish got family in Cleveland.
I don't care.
I do.
Everybody in Cleveland sucks except your family. How about that? And they're all illiterate.
I actually like
they're all illiterate.
I actually like the city of Cleveland. They're upgrading downtown. It's a nice area down there.
Have you been downgrading that crap hole?
Yeah.
So yeah, they
It's
can only
up
upgrade
from there.
What they do? They cut a lawn.
Did they pour new cement?
They pick up some trash.
Cleveland actually has some beautiful homes on the water.
Thank you, Kennedy.
Clean up the river.
They
clean up
redid the
lake.
flats. You guys probably don't even know what the flats are, so I'm speaking to gibberish people, but they cleaned up
It's
the
the
flats.
armpit
It's
of
a nice-
America, Fish.
I still think we need to do a Woodward Sports road trip to Cleveland for paninis.
Ooh.
Paninis.
I'm fine with that.
That's my favorite restaurant in Cleveland.
Oh,
I told you, they put the french fries in the sandwich, and you were like, oh, congrats,
You've never had
Kennedy.
that before?
Fermenties?
No, it's called paninis. It's a
they got the Fermenti bros here. That do
it's not the same.
damn
It's
thing.
way better.
Yeah,
okay, anyway.
it's basically the same thing, just in a different city. They actually have a fight about who invented it first, because it's from Pittsburgh.
Who invented fries in a sandwich? That's what they debate.
Basically, well, yeah,
How
but
fat are
the
we, America?
but the name of the
Very.
place is also.
It's fun to be a little fat.
It's not a little. This whole country, like more than half of it is obese. So
It's because we have unlimited
Okay,
dietary
well-
because
sources.
we have panini dietary
I haven't
choice,
hit
that's why.
the obese part of the BMI chart yet, so I'm gonna keep eating my French fries
That
in my
BMI chart's
sandwiches.
way out of whack anyway.
It is.
It says like I'm 6'4" and it says I should weigh 115 pounds. It's like that's impossible. I'm
Uh,
joking.
please
I'm
don't
over
do that.
exaggerating, but yeah.
But yeah, have
He
you
would
been
literally
to
be
have you been to Cleveland?
Yeah. It's okay.
Have you been to Cleveland, Adam?
I've driven through it on a road trip, and it was the worst experience of my life.
Like downtown or just
All
on
of
the
it.
highway?
All of it. All of it.
Have
I've
you ever
seen
seen
it.
that YouTube promo for Cleveland? It's like, welcome
I have
to
seen
Cleveland.
that, yep.
We got a statue of John Cleveland. And like that's all they have. Hey, there's a guy. Either way, Browns are taking on who, Kennedy?
The Pats.
The
All right,
Pats.
this is my this is one of my favorite games of the weekend because of the impact of the AFC wildcard it has. The Browns likely aren't going to win the division, even though they just had a big win over the Bengals. I still think the Ravens and the Bengals are probably the clear favorites there, but this has wildcard written all over it. And the Pats have been damn good, 4-1 in their last 5. Mac Jones looking really
Mac
solid.
Jones!
Mac Jones, that's
Dad
who.
bod God.
He's been playing really good. Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels have done a hell of a job really putting him in a good position to succeed. That's a team that's not going to beat you with anything flashy. They're going to run the ball. They're going to get their backs involved. Hunter Henry's going to do a majority of the carrying, and if Jacoby Myers can hit one deep, that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
And that's their formula, and it works. So I'm all for the Pats this game. I'm going to take the Patriots to upset the Browns. I'm going to take the more experienced coaching staff. I took it last week between the Browns and the Bengals. I took the Browns. This week, I'm going to take Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels to come up with something that'll frustrate and really catch the Cleveland Browns on their heels. So I'm going to go with the Patriots in this game.
See, I know you said the word upset. I wouldn't see that as an upset. I look at the Patriots as just as good, if not better, than the Browns, especially the way they're trending, too.
I think trending-wise, yes. I think going into the season, nobody would have expected week 10 in the year. We're talking about 2-5-4 teams.
Well, no, but nobody really I mean, some people obviously expected Mac Jones to be good. Otherwise, they wouldn't have drafted him. But he's the perfect fit for that type of scheme, that type of offense. And it's so hilarious to me, the similarities between him and Tom Brady. Not saying he's Tom Brady yet. I'm just saying that the similarities between, like, just how they looked when they came into their combine and, like, what people thought of them and how they were undervalued. Like, Mac Jones is, like, what, the 5th-rated quarterback in this draft when you looked at his college statistics, he easily could have been the number 1 rated quarterback in this draft. So the Patriots waited, and they did what the Patriots do. They stole the guy that fits their system. Because when you go to New England, you need to fit the system. That's why they've never really had big-time wide receivers. I mean, you could say Deion Branch, you could say Randy Moss, but those were just like flashes in the pans. They really weren't a part of the system.
I didn't think Deion was like an all-time 1A wide receiver who's just damn good. Moss
scheme
was that like flashy. I mean, that was a great 2 years, but
that's why I thought Odell Beckham may look good.
I thought it made sense too, but I mean, Odell Beckham's an idiot.
Could you see him playing for Belichick? Hell no.
Well, then how are you going to play anywhere in the league? Honestly, I mean that sincerely.
Well, that's what he's having problems with, staying on teams.
You went from like a Bluestone franchise in New York. Honestly, the Giants are owned by great owners. Look, they're not the best football team right now, but you can argue great leadership at the front office level outside of hiring.
They got Super Bowls.
Where I'm going with this, if you can't succeed there, and you can't fall in line there, and then you go to Cleveland and they turn it around and they win playoff games without you, and then when you come back trying to make them take that next step, you don't even fit in there.
Right.
Where are you ever going to fit? I'm over Odell Beckham Jr. I could care less. But the next game we have, I think this is probably one of those games where if you have it available on your TV, you probably should watch it. New Orleans and Tennessee. Tennessee right now probably looking like the most complete team in the AFC, and that's without Derrick Henry. They're coming off a huge win, but I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints in this game on the upside. I just don't think Tennessee can keep up this play, or maybe they can, and they're just that damn good.
You got that much faith in Trevor Siemian?
I've got faith in Sean Payton.
Okay.
I've got faith in Sean Payton to put together enough of an offense, even without Alvin Kamara. And to be honest, the New Orleans defense is no pushover. I think they're just as good as the Titans. It's going to be one of those ugly games. Whatever the over-under is, take the under. I expect this to be an 18-17, maybe even a 20-14 game. It's going to be ugly. It's going under 40 points. There's no chance it's clearing 40. So I'm going to take the Saints in a close game. I just think both teams struggle to move the ball. No Derrick Henry. Tennessee isn't going to be able to run the ball. And let's be honest, Tennessee against Los Angeles, 14 of their points came from the defense.
Essentially, yeah.
So they didn't even look all that great on offense. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I love Vrabel, and I love his attitude. I love the way he coaches, and I love the tenacity he gets his team to play with. And, you know, Tennessee is kind of that next man up mentality when you lose the league MVP and the best running back pretty much on the planet right now, but your defense comes out and does what it did against one of the better teams in the NFL. You got to feel good about yourself playing against anybody, anywhere, anytime, because defense travels. That's the thing with defense. You can take it on the road with you. Offense, it's kind of 50-50 if you're going to get your supreme offensive performers on the road. So I like Tennessee in this game. I really do. I think they're bigger, they're stronger, the tenacity behind them. And Sean Payton, great coach. I'll give him credit for that. But Vrabel, to me, is right up there. And as soon as he gets his Super Bowl like Sean Payton, he's on the same level as Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think Vrabel gets a rap for being like this, guru guy. This motivational. No, this dude has a clear understanding of he played the game, first of all, at a very high level.
Hey, smart.
And he's a smart coach. This wasn't a guy that walked in and said, kumbaya, we're going to figure this out. No, it's like, you're going to play my way. This is how I play the game of football. I play with this tenacity, this level of expectation. This is how hard I play. You are all going to play this way. And it's really worked in Tennessee. I'm really happy for him. I really am. That was a coach I think a lot of people scratched their heads on. The Detroit Lions passed on him for Matt Patricia at the time. So how'd that work?
Smart.
But regardless, next game up, we've got the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Chargers stick. You know how I feel about
Go
Justin
Herbert!
Herbert and Brandon Staley. I have a man crush on both of them. So I'm going to eliminate my bias this game. I think this is a very difficult game. Kirk Cousins, for some reason, just shows up when he shouldn't. This has Minnesota written all over it. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I think the Chargers are the more complete team. I think the coaching staff-wise, maybe Zimmer's more experienced. Yeah, but I'm going to trust the 5-3 LA Chargers. They can't drop this game. The Raiders just lost. The Chiefs just won. Now the Chiefs are playing the Raiders. One of those teams are losing. You can't afford to lose on a week where you know your division rivals are going to drop a game.
Right.
So I'm going to go with the Chargers this game. I think they win big, 27-17. I just have confidence that this Chargers defense is going to turn it around. They have all the data supporting that they're a good team defensively. They just haven't shown it, on the field in defensive touchdowns, turnovers. So I think they get the pressure on the quarterback. They stop the run. They limit it. But I think this is the game they probably have their coming out party. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm not really sure with the Vikings what's going on. You have the Dalvin Cook drama that's been happening all week. You're not sure how that's trickled down into the locker room because, how are you a coach game planning if you don't know if you're going to have your running back? And Alexander Mattison is probably one of the best number 2 running backs in the league, so they're not going to lose a ton. But at the same time, Dalvin Cook is Dalvin Cook. So I don't think the Vikings can win this game. I don't think they have the capability to go on the road and win this game, especially when they're having all this drama inside the locker room. And I'm with you. I do like Justin Herbert. I'm a big Mike Williams fan, even though he's been up and down. But his size, his speed, the way he can get down the field and pop the top on the defense, I think that's going to happen. You're going to see a big game out of Mike Williams. And overall, the Chargers, I think, are just going to – this is going to be an easy game for the Chargers. It's on the West Coast. The Vikings have to travel, and the Chargers have the better offense. So at the end of the day, and we get to watch our boy Rashawn Slater play, who Slater's been a hell of a pick, too. And I know you were high on him before the draft.
One of the best tackles right now in the NFL.
One of, the best, not rookie tackles.
Rookie, yeah.
One of the best tackles in the NFL. And that's a big deal. You get your franchise quarterback, and then the next year you draft a Rashawn Slater, and
when they're
off and running.
I always say this. When the Lions have a 4 or 3 year stretch like the Chargers have had, I'll take them seriously. Darwin James in the first round, Joey Bosa in the first round, Justin Herbert, and then they followed up in this past draft with Rashawn Slater and then Asante Samuel late in the second round. That's a hell of a draft.
Yeah, they're scouting.
They're doing a damn good job. I think what drives me nuts about Rashawn Slater is this was a guy that was drafted. You could have put him anywhere, left or right, and it was like, no, we're going to make him one of the best left tackles. Why? Because that's the most important position on the offensive line. And then, of course, here in Detroit, we have Taylor Decker. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, but didn't you draft this kid to be your top 3, top 5 left tackle for the next 10 to 15 years? I wish I knew what the hell they were doing, but regardless.
I'm still screaming, move Sewell to left guard.
Left
guard, baby. Left guard, that's the move.
Next game.
Joik said I'm stupid for thinking that, by the way.
Joik says a lot of stupid things, too, so I guess everyone's entitled to say something stupid eventually, including me. Seahawks, Packers, stick. What do you think?
This is an interesting game to me. Russell Wilson's coming back, so that totally changes the dynamic of the game. Aaron Rodgers, that whole drama. Is Aaron Rodgers playing? Is he still fine?
Not confirmed
We're
yet.
not going to know till Saturday.
Did he pass his negative tests?
Not going to know till
stuff?
Saturday.
So how the hell can I judge this game till Saturday? If it's
Right.
Jordan Love, you're taking the L. L stands for love. L is also your loss that you're going to take with that guy at your quarterback right now. So really, to me, it's Aaron Rodgers debate. If Rodgers is playing, I'm flipping a coin. If Rodgers not playing, clearly Seattle's going to win this game.
Yep.
Fair enough. And the final game, Chiefs-Raiders.
Ooh, I love
Divisional game. That's
I love this rivalry.
I think this is a blowout.
Over-under fights in the stands on this game.
Ooh,
You
that's
always see
good.
crazy.
3.5?
Yeah.
Jackson Mahomes
I'll take
throwing
over
water
3.
again?
Ooh,
I hate that family.
I know you do. I
despise
wanted
the
to get it
Mahomes
revved
family.
up.
They are what America isn't about. Like I achieved the highest status I could have in my career, and you two idiots are absolutely making me look like a fool and are driving me nuts. Imagine I came home and all my wife loved to talk about was a TikTok dance. I would go insane. Like, holy crap! Like, we made it in life. Can't you shut the hell up for 1 minute? God, if I was him, I would backhand the wife and the brother. Jesus Christ.
Prayers up for Adam's wife.
Honestly, there needs to be a GoFundMe for Patrick Mahomes to divorce his wife and his brother, if possible.
Divorce his brother.
Somebody, this country needs to help this kid. I feel so bad.
He can't divorce his brother.
Yeah,
I mean, I
can.
guess technically
If he
he can.
divorces his wife, you know how much that's going to cost?
That's why I said they should do a GoFundMe.
Cheaper to
We
keep
should
her.
support this kid.
I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of divorced from his brothers.
Well, he needs to pull in Aaron Rodgers because these two are just driving him down. Until they, ever since that proposal, marriage, whatever that picture was that came out, he has not looked like himself. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That is the only factual data I can have to support this
Factual
argument.
data.
All right, he has looked awful ever since his brother started doing this weird ass TikTok stuff, and his wife does whatever the heck she does. I don't know. Regardless, I think it's a blowout. Chiefs win big. I think the Raiders look. They have an inexperienced head coach. He's an
How
interim.
can you sleep on the Raiders,
No.
man? Like,
No,
I'm
because
not
they lost.
the
sleeping on
Raiders
the
are the
Raiders.
most phenomenal story in the NFL right now.
No, they
You've
lost
lost
last
your
week.
head coach. Your wide receiver kills somebody. You drop. You have to cut another guy because he's on TikTok waving guns around, doing threats. You pretty much lost your entire 2020 draft.
Mike Mayock
and these
sucks.
dudes are still winning games.
Well,
they're still winning. Like
they started 3-0. They started 3-0.
They're still winning games.
They're 5-3 right now. They just lost to the Giants. They're going to lose to the Chiefs, and I think my bold prediction for the rest of the year, they don't win more than 7 games. They don't. They're going to go on
rest of the year?
The rest. They're not winning more than 7 games. They're going to go on a massive losing streak. Mayock's getting canned, and they're going to start a whole new rebuild around Derek Carr. They need a new GM and they need a head coach. It's really sad to see, actually. Mike Mayock is the perfect example of a guy like Louis Riddick who's on TV and has no idea what the hell he was ever talking about.
If that 2020 draft
That's
is any
embarrassing.
indication, that is embarrassing.
That he nailed it in 18, 17, I believe it was. Josh Jacobs, Abrams in the first round, and they blew Farrell at a number 5 overall. It was a disaster, but
yeah, I don't know. I like the Raiders, and the way the Chiefs have been playing all season long. I mean, the Chiefs have never had that get-right game, so this could be it for them. But at the same time, the Raiders just played
Raiders
ball.
had a bye week though. They had a bye week going into New York, and they lost against the Giants. I have zero confidence in this team. I like Derek Carr, but I don't believe they have any coaching on that team right now. I think the front office.
No, he left because he was sending racist emails years ago.
I think the front office is in total disarray, and I think the locker room is split. I think they get blown out probably. You see Mahomes' best game of the year, 42. I'll go 42-14.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Because my fantasy team, I'm up against
And I want
Jeff.
everybody at home, whoever has a TikTok, I want you to go to Jackson Mahomes' page and his wife's page. And I want you to just report them for insensitive content and get them canceled. You guys like cancel culture? Please, just cancel those two at least.
Right.
And LeBron James. He kind of deserves it right now.
Taco Tuesday!
Anyway, on that, we have to go to break. When we come back, we will be talking more Lions, so make sure you stick around. But first, our friends at Gypsy Vodka.
All right, guys, Gypsy Vodka. It took over 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but Gypsy Vodka believes they have the best tasting, smoothest vodka on the market. Gypsy is gluten-free and corn distilled 6 times using artisan spring water. Support your local brothers, Mike and Adam, who are alumni at Michigan State. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by the name, of course, of Gypsy. And as always, please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. As promised, getting into some more Lions. All right. I think this one is titled this way because Adam is not buying it. Nearly 65% of bettors are rolling with the Lions to cover the 8.5-point spread.
All right.
You guys, after this Eagles game where I thought it would be close, they'd at least cover. I'm not ever putting money on the Lions ever again in my entire life.
I called this public execution for a reason. I think the public are jinxing the Lions. Look, whenever the public is like 65, 70% over on something, I always go against it. I just have a bad feeling. If the public is that high on the Lions to cover against the Steelers, a winless team versus a 5-3 football team on a short week, I'm like vomiting in my mouth right now. I hope this doesn't get bad. I'm going against the public. I'm going to take the Steelers now, 8.5, because that's like one of my golden rules. If the public is 65, 70% in favor of an obvious pick, especially on the points in a game that aren't like atrocious, I'm going to move in the opposite direction.
Well, I just looked up the weather. Sunday, 50% chance of rain and 43 degrees, so not really sure how that's going to affect
Fits for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Fits real well for the Steelers, and that's something that's been bothering me, Stick. Me and you have been high on DeAndre Swift ever since he came out.
Oh, yeah.
I think you were one of the few people that were high on not only Swift, but Jonathan Taylor and Antonio Gibson all in the same draft. So home run there for Stick. But do you run the ball with Swift more, especially with Jamal Williams out or limited? We'll see. He's questionable right now heading into the week. But what's the plan? Are you going to give him the 16, 18 carries that you probably need to? Or are you going to settle for 12, 14 carries and let's just hope for the best?
See, to me, Dan Campbell sometimes overthinks things, right? Like
I don't think he thinks, but that's a compliment. Go ahead.
I think he overthinks. Like, all right, we got to be aggressive. We got to go for it on fourth down. We got to go. He never takes the points and all that good stuff. But if you feed your best player the ball, that's it. That's what you do. Like, to me, it's so simple in football. If you have a play that works, you keep running the play till the defense stops it. If you have a player that's working, you keep using that player until the other team can show you that they can stop it. And so between Swift and Hockenson, that's where our entire offense should be predicated around. Because outside of that, we don't have anybody that can be a real game changer. Now, if Williams is out again, I'm really looking forward to see what Jamar Jefferson is able to do. He got in at the end of the last game, was able to squeeze in our only touchdown of the game. Everybody gave a little jeer for it, which is fine. But if you go back, I was high on this kid coming out this year, even though he was a 6th, 7th round pick. That's kind of the theme for running backs coming out right now in the NFL. You're hardly seeing any go in the first round. I mean, 2 years ago with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the only running back in the first round. He was the 32nd pick. That's why we were able to get a guy like DeAndre Swift in the second round. So Jamar Jefferson being a 6th, 7th round pick, probably 5-10 years ago, he's a 3rd, 4th round pick talent. And so I'm happy we have him. I'm going to be interested. But yeah, I don't trust Goff. I'm not putting the ball in Goff's hands. I trust Swift at this point. I'm putting the ball in Swift's hands. We need to run the ball 35 times. He needs to get at least 35 touches in this game. I'm talking passing and receiving, or receiving and running. But that's my game plan going in, and I think Swift can be productive. I mean, the guy shows flash, man. He shows everything
He's
that
your
you
only
want
home run
out of
hitter
your
you have on the
RB1.
roster.
Yep.
He's the only home run hitter. You've seen how deadly he is in the screen game, and what does Pittsburgh love to do? They love to blitz. So all you got to do is be patient, and when you know the blitz is coming, Jared, you have an audible set for the screen. You call it, and that's probably your best chance to get quick points on Sunday against the Steelers. But no, man, I'm going against the public. I'm not confident in this at all. It's
go with the wisdom of the crowd, man.
Yeah, that's the same crowd that told me the Lions should win 10 games this year on Twitter. So I'm not going to roll with that crowd at all.
I don't think anybody that actually said that was serious.
I don't know. Crackman sat in that chair and did a live
Forward
interview.
down the field.
There you go. There you go.
You gotta consider the source. But yeah, like me, even as like a diehard Lions fan, I had them as a losing record. If all things went
8 and 9, right?
8 and 9.
Yeah.
If all, and that was what I said. If all things go right, they could be 8 and 9.
Look, I think the biggest
nothing
problem
has gone right.
Well,
and
the biggest problem I had with your prediction wasn't so much the win total. It was that they were going to string together 6 straight.
But that was the only way they could get to 8 in my head. You know what I mean?
So
they needed that type of run to get the 8 wins. And obviously, as you've seen, because they can't put that run together, they're not going to get there.
Yeah.
But that stretch was the only stretch I saw that they had a chance to make some damage this season.
Well, it's funny because going into the year, I thought Philly, Chicago, at least one of the Chicago games, I marked Thanksgiving for sure. I thought Philly, Chicago, Atlanta, Seattle late in the year, or even Green Bay at home, on top of Pittsburgh coming off a bye were the games, and then you just watch the first 8 games, you're like, they're not winning the game.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
But the way I had it, they started out 0-3. Then they won 6 to take them to 6-3. Then they only won 2 games the rest of the season. So, like, you know, as much as people are like, "Oh, that's a horrible," but
yeah, but for them to start 6-3, the narrative is like, "Oh my God, this is a good football team." Like that's the problem I have.
That's why that Tucker field goal hurt me so bad, man. Because I get that they're 1-2,
I will
going
never
into
agree
Chicago,
with this.
feeling better about themselves. They get their 2nd win of the season. Then we're 2-2, and everyone's like, "Holy hell, things are turning around in Detroit." But here we are. You look at their schedule, and it's just scary to see L all the way down the schedule. It's sickening almost.
You want to know why we have all these L's?
Yeah, because we're not winning.
No,
they made
we're
that
not,
L hat.
No, because we're not wearing that hat. They discontinued it, and if we would have had that hat, they would have won. Sorry, but that's the truth.
Only the Lions make that PR blunder.
Blunder.
Well, they probably didn't
No,
have
I'm
it
sure
on
they
sale
sign
enough
off on
times.
this, Dick. I'm sure they sign off on the concept before it gets to NFLshop.com. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Well, should let people buy it more, and then we would have been winning.
I wish I could have gotten my hands on that.
If hat sales went into Lions wins, then I would put a lot of stock into it.
Well,
but
you don't know until you try.
okay. Next year, I'm buying all the hats then, and we'll see what happens.
Better make an L one similar to the one they did a few months ago. I love that hat.
I think the biggest takeaway, hopefully, from this weekend isn't that they get steamrolled, but I think that's going to be the case. I do. We'll give our predictions, obviously, after the break. But, Stick, I don't know, man. Whenever the public is extremely one-sided on a game, you kind of look like, I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't like it. I mean, this happened with the Ohio State game. 85% of the public had Ohio State covering last weekend against
I was one
Nebraska.
of them.
And you were one of them.
Because you told me to.
I know, and I was one of them as well.
College football to me, though, is so much more unpredictable. I mean, those are 17, 18,
The
and 19
Dolphins just won last night. I didn't see that coming.
Oh, you should have listened to Big D Energy yesterday, Kennedy.
Dang it.
All right, well, regardless, we got to head to break, Kennedy.
We do have to head to break. Thank goodness we're talking Lions, because I have to tell you what you should do this Sunday. You should come to the Lions pregame at O'Toole's in Royal Oak to hang out with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani, Maz, myself, and Jade from Riff, and our friends at Jose Cuervo from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the Lions pregame show with us and our friends at Riff. And then, of course, the party cannot end at the pregame. You got to go to the postgame, too, with Stick and Anson at the 2-minute warning of every Lions game at the Brass Rail on Adams and Woodward. They start streaming right at the 2-minute warning of every single Lions game. They get all of the reactions, all of the crowd reactions. It's awesome. There will be DJs, drinks, and a Woodward VIP section with food and more. So make sure you're there for every single Lions game. All right, we will give you guys their final score predictions after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for taking time out of your Friday to hang out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, you guys, your final score predictions for the Lions versus the Steelers game. Keep previewing this game for me. I know it's hard. It's hard. Coming into the season, I thought we were going to win this game, but now everything is out the window. Especially after the Eagles game. My mind still isn't wrapped around that one. But, Adam, let's start with you.
Yeah, look, I told you guys I'm going against the public on the 8.5 points. I'm going to say the Steelers roll comfortably. I'm going to go 31-17. The Lions haven't proven to me that they can score more than 20 points basically all year. And if you can't score more than 20, I'm not sure you're going to be in the game. I think the Steelers really control the clock. They limit how often the Lions are on. I think it's a 31, probably to 6 game heading into the fourth, and then the Lions just get the garbage time points, and then we forget about the game, and we have about 6 shots of Gypsy vodka.
I think this is the game where you see if the teams quit on Dan Campbell. Honestly,
I don't think that's fair, though.
I think it's fair because after what we saw with the Eagles, if they can't rebound from that pathetic performance and that effort,
what do you need to see though? Is it a score thing? Is it an effort thing?
It's an effort thing. It's. I need to see what I was seeing the first 3 weeks of the season, the fight. That's what I need to see because last against the Eagles, it was a laydown. The fight wasn't there. They gave up on not only the game, but they gave up on their coach, it seemed like. So if Dan Campbell can get these guys back in the game, I'm still picking the Lions to lose. Let me preface that. So I'm still picking the Lions to lose, but I got my score 27-20 because, honestly, it's weird that you brought up they can't score more than 20 points. That's exactly where I have them. But I need to see the effort. I need to see the fight. Because after the game against the Eagles, like I said, I think he lost the locker room a little bit in that moment. And if it compounds into 2 games like that, then we know that he's lost the locker room, and it's going to be another crazy, crazy long 2 months of the season because they're not even trying at this point. So I want to see effort. I want to see the Lions have a good scheme. I want to see them play well. But at the end of the day, I think the Steelers just have too much. They're too experienced. They have, Mike Tomlin as their coach, one of my favorite coaches of all time. Big Ben is getting healthier. He made some great plays on Monday Night Football. The way that guy can pump fake and pull the ball down is incredible to me. Like we talk about Jared Goff having small hands. Ben Roethlisberger must have hands that are like this big for him to be able to whip the ball and still hold on to it. So overall, I got the Lions losing this game, and I hope I'm wrong, but 27-20 in favor of the Steelers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see them covering, dude. I don't see it.
Look, I'm with America, baby.
Yeah.
America!
How often is America right?
All the time. We've never gotten anything wrong.
Oh, man. That is like one of my favorite things to do on here. To sit up and give my, I don't know. What do you want to call it? Hillbilly accent? What's the correct word?
It's Southern.
Southern?
Oh,
I don't know
we
how to
won't
describe
put
it.
that
It's my
on the whole
Lions
South.
accent. That's basically how I talk.
Yeah, your Lions fan accent.
Yeah. Like, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah,
something
where
like
in
that.
Michigan do we talk like that?
I don't know.
I don't know where you got, like, if we were in Tuscaloosa,
I just think I got
Alabama or
angry
something.
one day.
Roll Tide.
Because there was some comment. This happened before the season started. Some idiot sat there and said,
Lions Super Bowl.
no, that Jared Goff, we're talking 8 seasons when Goff has like 2 MVPs
yes,
and we've
yes,
won 2 Super Bowls,
yes,
something
they
like
did
that.
say
Which
that.
he
So
still
then
could
I went
have
up and I
that.
said something like,
No.
"Oh, we have Jared Goff and we're gonna go to the Super Bowl." I just got really angry. I'm sorry.
That's your really angry voice?
This is really angry voice.
When
I
Adam
just
turns
mocked
Southern,
it.
look out!
Yeah, I mean that's it. Kennedy, give me your score.
Ooh.
Are you with the public or are you gonna take my side?
Like I said, it's so hard after that Eagles game. I mean, the Steelers do have some vulnerabilities in their offensive line and in their secondary, but I still think they're going to win. Oh, gosh, it's so hard because I really thought the Lions would have been close to the Eagles, and it wasn't even relatively close.
That's what throws me off, too.
And then we're in these games that we shouldn't be in, and like it wasn't that bad against the Rams. It wasn't that bad against the Ravens. We should have been.
I lost credibility on their opening start where they played close against the Ravens. I lost all that logic when they got beaten pretty bad by the Bears. They got blown out by the Eagles. It's like, oh well.
That's why I can't.
Are you playing to your opponent's level? That's not a good thing.
Yes. They are, but they're playing.
Then you get against the Rams, you're pulling out rabbits out of a hat. You got all these trick
Where
plays
are the trick
going.
plays?
Yeah, and then we play the Eagles, and it's like, all right, hand
it was
ball
the
off.
most boring game of my entire life. We didn't try a single thing.
It's like we used all of our trick plays against the Rams. We're like, well, it didn't work. We're never going to do that again.
But it did. It worked. It worked.
I thought it worked too. If it worked against the Rams, it would have killed the Eagles.
Right. Where was I thought coming out of the half against the Eagles, I thought, all right, this is when Dan Campbell's going to be like, we got to mix it up. The normal stuff isn't working. Here we go. Halftime adjustment.
What
no
happened
adjustments.
against
Horrendous.
Los Angeles was Dan Campbell and his coaching staff and the players, they blew their load in about 10 seconds.
But that was them at their best.
That's pretty bad.
That wasn't bad.
That
want
would have
somebody who
beaten
can
the
stay
Eagles,
consistent
though.
for 60. Look, the point is they let all the tricks out that they probably had for the whole year out in one game, and they stole 3 possessions and they still lost the game. I mean,
Then come up with new tricks. That's your job.
I don't think
right?
they have any new tricks. I honestly, I really don't.
Well, if we got to run the annexation of Puerto Rico out of Little Giants, I'm running it if we got to score that way.
The way they play against the games that we call our moral victories is how we need to play against these games.
No such thing as moral victories.
But you know what I mean.
I do, but I hate that term, especially when it comes to football.
But why can we not just play that way all the time? Where the defense shows up out of nowhere when it's supposed to be depleted, and I just don't know.
But that's the sign of an inconsistent football team.
I know, but that's why I can't give score predictions anymore because they're always so far off. The games where I'm like, we're going to get blown out,
I don't think
it's
anybody's
close.
been right about the Lions this year in terms of score predictions. I mean,
I won't
even
do it
I sat
anymore.
up there and said, I think they pulled it off close against the Bears, and they didn't. So even I've been wrong.
Even Adam's been wrong, everyone, so it's okay.
So feel better and make your prediction.
I don't
Come
like
on.
being wrong. But okay, I think it's going to be a blowout because just based on the Eagles game.
Good job.
I'll say Steelers 27, Lions 10.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay. Steelers at 27 as well. So
Fair enough.
Yeah,
10-point
close enough.
differential for the Lions.
One touchdown,
Lions
one
haven't
field
proven to
goal.
me that they can score more than 20, 24 points in a game. And if they can't do that against any team, it's going to be difficult to win, let alone a Pittsburgh Steelers team that, let's be honest, is probably significantly better. Fish, 10-7 is no longer in the equation, so you can't come after me with this.
True.
So tell me your prediction for Sunday.
Oh boy. Look, the Steelers are coming off Monday, which is teams sometimes struggle when they go from Monday to Sunday, 6-day turnaround. Now they did a 5-day turnaround, technically. They did play at home on Monday and Sunday, so that'll certainly help them. They'll probably win 25-20.
25-20.
Yes. The Steelers, not the Lions, sadly, although I am wearing the Lions.
Then this is a game the Lions
shirt.
win because Fish has had them winning all year.
I have.
The one time Fish picks against them, they're going to win.
Hey, we got to try something new, right?
We do.
We got to try anything to get this W.
If Fish saying that the Lions will lose helps them win, then Fish, you need to do this every weekend.
And hint, hint, you will see me on the Lions pregame show on Sunday. Hint, hint, hint.
Really?
Hint, hint.
There you go, everyone.
I know how. Okay.
Hint.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what he's talking about too.
So yeah, make sure you're watching the pregame show on Sunday
Hint,
live
hint,
from
hint.
Tools.
Do you like that stick? I threw that in.
Good plug, Fish. Good job.
Yeah, good job, Fishy. All right, you guys.
Make sure you watch the whole pregame, of course, not just the bit.
True. True. Thank you, Fish. Watch the whole pregame, everyone. We will see you right back here on Monday. We will talk about what happens during this Lions game. Fingers crossed for our first win. But, we will see. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. Have a wonderful weekend. This has been the Morning Woodward Show.